Another day, another ball game here at BB&T Point as the High Point Rockers look to do something they haven't done all week, and that's win a ball game. They've lost 4 in a row, but with Joe Van Meter on the mound tonight, the signs certainly point for them having a good opportunity to do so. Good evening. Welcome to the ballpark. I'm Kendrick Fruits along with Kevin McMahon. Happy to be here with you as per usual, and my goodness, it's certainly getting interesting here in the Atlantic League as we get down to our final 18 games of the regular season. That's right, we are under 20 to the end of the regular season here this year, Kevin.
Yeah, and it's time to make a move right here for the High Point Rockers. We've talked ad nauseum about the standings. We'll see them again here later in this game around the 4th inning, those mid-innings. We'll talk about the standings and kind of focus on that at that time. And the Rockers still in pretty good shape, all things considered. They did such a good job in the first half that they've really protected themselves in this situation. But they still have an opportunity to win this series, and that's what's most important, especially when you look at the fact that tomorrow's a doubleheader, and I know it's hard to sweep, but the Rockers swept the Ducks in a doubleheader, if I'm not mistaken. So I think the only home doubleheader they had, the Rockers swept one of, if not the best teams in the Atlantic League, the Long Island Ducks. So the Rockers can do it. We've seen them do it before. And if they're going to do it tonight, they have Joe Van Meter on the mound, who's going to be great for them, I would assume, because he's been so great. I'm jumping ahead. I know you want to give a recap.
Yeah, before we get too far ahead into tonight, let's go ahead and talk about yesterday, a day where we saw Craig Stem make his debut for the High Point Rockers. Looked very good through 4 2/3 innings yesterday. Offense showed up early, but just weren't able to get it done. A 5-run inning in the 7th by the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs kind of did the Rockers in. We're about to jump into an interview with Jamie Keefe. Really quickly, anything you wanted to say about the game yesterday?
One thing I want to say about the upcoming interview, I think the interview kind of covers the game yesterday. Obviously, the Rockers lost a tough one, and we talked about it after the game last night. And not to not cover it, not to act like it didn't happen, because it definitely did. It was a great win for the Blue Crabs, but I'm sure Rocker fans don't want to rehash everything that happened last night.
Sure.
The one thing I want to say about the interview is keep an ear out for what Jamie Keefe says about Stem. He gave a great tidbit and gave us a little bit of insight of why we saw Stem used the way he was last night.
All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into that. We had a chance to sit down with Rockers manager Jamie Keefe before the game today.
Hey, Rockers fans, Kevin McMahon and Kendrick Fruits here with the manager, not coach, Jamie Keefe. So, Jamie, we'll start with, I'll take your question here, but you can jump into it again. But we'll start with where the Rockers have been, and that's on the road recently, and what challenges that's presented so far.
Oh, it certainly has. We've had a good run of it. These last 3 weeks have been really tough. Back and forth to the Northeast, up to Long Island, then back. For three-day trips is just that turnaround's really tough. And this is not an excuse the way we're playing, but it's just kind of add to it. So our temperament and our frustration level is probably at the most heightened state it's been all year. I think I told you guys this just before the interview that this is the first time I've been angry or really upset all year, and I think it's just compiled of exhaustion from the travel and uncomfort because you're going out. You got to get back to town and get right back on a field, and it's just been really tough on the guys. And that frustration's rolling over into the coaching staff. And when you're not playing well, you're looking for excuses or looking for a reason. And we can point to that a little bit, but I mean the bottom line is we just stink right now. We're just not really good, and it's okay. You're gonna go through this on a year-to-year basis. You're gonna hit your the stride that you don't want to hit, and that's kind of where we're at right now. I always tell these guys, it's you want to stay on that steady climb up, and sometimes you're going to drop into a hole. Right now we're in that hole. We got to get back to the level we were at, and I know that we're one game away from being right back where we should be. And we dropped 4 in a row. It feels like it's been 9 in a row. It's the first time we've dropped 4 in a row all year. So it certainly doesn't feel good, but we got to turn this corner and get back at it tonight.
It feels like there's one component of the game, each game, that seems to let the team down. Some days the hitting and the starting pitching is great and the bullpen has a rough outing. Some days the starting pitching isn't great. Some days the hitting doesn't show up. What do you have to do, or how do you work with that as a manager to try to get every piece firing on all cylinders, so to speak, on the same night?
Well, if I knew that, I'd be managing the Yankees. I don't have all those answers. I do know that's baseball, plain and simple. I mean, that's just the way it is. When things aren't going well, that's how it happens. It's always one piece is missing. One night you go out and score 9 runs and lose 10-9. That's just baseball. That's how it happens. But it's compiled and it's happened over and over and over again. And right now, earlier in the season, we couldn't hit with runners in scoring position at all. And played the greatest defense you've ever seen, and we'd lose by 1 run. Now we are not necessarily pitching the back end of the game. We're not pitching as well as we had, and that's with the starters as well. Starters may be cruising, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're the other team's blow up inning, or our blow up inning was 1 or 2 runs. Now it's 4 or 5, and that's just where we're at. It's again we're at that stage of the year, and we just have to be able to piece a baseball game together. We got to play great defense one night, good pitching one night, and good hitting one night. Now we need to get all 3 of them in one game, and when we do that, we're going to be fine, get right back on track, and hopefully Joey Van Meter's the guy to do it tonight.
That's exactly where I wanted to go next. Thursday night, when he pitched last, he was just unbelievable and really put you guys in a position to be able to get the win on Thursday night. Unfortunately, that happened right before a long road trip, so the momentum, doesn't carry when you have to get into a 16-hour travel day and play the next night. But I feels like the conditions are there for, not to put a lot of pressure on him, but if Van Meter has another good night and the offense starts rolling again, it feels like this could be the win that kind of puts some wind back in the sails here.
Listen, there's no telling that Joey's been our go-to guy all year. He's the guy that has been our stopper, and everybody needs one, and he's been our guy. So going to lean on him again and let him go out and do his thing. And, again, just remember, we've had some fantastic pitching performances even in the last week, but we just haven't had the big hit, or we've had poor pitching performances and we've hit. Again, it's there. It's baseball. We're doing the right thing. We're putting the lineup out there every night. Best 9 that we think is going to win each and every night, depending on who's pitching for the other team, depending who's coming out of the bullpen. We're doing all the matchups we've been doing all year. It's just not clicking right now, and I'm not worried about it. Of course, I'm worried about it, but I'm not, worried about this team. We have what we need here and in that clubhouse, and we'll be ready on the field at 6:30 tonight, ready to go.
Speaking of pitching, Craig Stem making his first start here yesterday, and absolutely fantastic. We thought, not a guy so far this year's been a strikeout pitcher, but he struck out 9 and 4 2/3. What did you see from him yesterday?
Well, let's be honest. He knows those hitters probably better than everybody else because he was on that team at the beginning of the year. But listen, we are just lucky and ecstatic to get Craig here. It's been a joy in getting him here and how it went about, knowing that he is from Asheville, is really good buddies with Sammy Runyon, and these are 2 guys that have known each other for a long time, and we just kind of fell into it, and thanks to Stan Clyburn over on the other side, Stanley he's in it the way we are, and has the same feeling as we do here on our coaching staff, that you do it for what the kid, for the kids, and these guys come out each and every day and put a uniform on for you, and when they want to pitch closer to home, you let them pitch closer to home, and this is the opportunity he's getting. He went to Mexico, made some pretty good money. He's getting ready to go to Venezuela. He wants to keep his innings down. Don't know that we're going to do that because we need him right now. But again, he knows that we're going to take care of him, and that's why he was on an 80 pitch count yesterday. He ended up throwing 86 pitches and had a hell of an outing. And just a guy that knows what he's doing and really impressed us. He was impressive against us, and he was even more impressive in our uniform.
So the last question for me, I know usually these are questions you kind of stay away from, but. You're not supposed to forecast, but when you've had 9 of them, I think you're allowed to ask, what would the 10th walk-off mean? We have 3 shots to get it, this homestand. So if a 10th walk-off would happen, I feel like that would be a lot of momentum in the Rockers' fashion. When that happens, you guys usually start heating up right after that. What would that mean if that happens?
Well, I'll tell you what, I would like to not need one of those tonight. I would like to be able to breathe through a baseball game, which I haven't done in about 2 weeks, but...
What's the Rockers? We got to have a 1-run game all the way through.
The heart attack kids is what it's called. But right now, I think we just need, as a team, we need to go out and get a game and not let a game come to us. We're not getting those right now. Nobody's giving away games. Nobody, this late in the year. We are. at times, but nobody's going to give them to us. They all know that there is a target on our back, guys. I hate to tell everybody, but people are chasing us, and they know it. We know it here, and the other team knows it when they get to the ballpark. So we got to do what we got to do for the next 27 outs, and hopefully we come out on top. But we've got today, two games tomorrow, obviously, and then another chance next week. I'd love to get 10 walk-offs in the first year. I mean, to have 2 walk-offs in the first year would be great, but whatever it takes. I mean, we've got 9 of them. Let's go for 13 of them if we need them. I don't care what we need to do. We need W's.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Good luck.
Thank you.
Those were the pregame thoughts of the skip, Jamie Keefe, as the Rockers and the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs getting set for Game 2 of a 4-game series. 9 games remaining on the home schedule for the High Point Rockers. That's right, you can count them on 2 hands right now before we get into postseason play. And while things are, I don't know if comfortable is the right word, things look good for the Rockers for getting into the postseason, but it is not a done deal yet, and so that means that you cannot put your foot off of the gas yet.
I would say if you're a Rocker fan, you're surprised in a good way when you look at the standings, because I think you look at some of the results recently, and you get a little nervous, and you go, okay, where are we? Are we in good shape? Is everything okay? And you look at the standings, and the Rockers are in good shape, and that's just credit to what a great first half that they had, and how strong they were able to finish their first half, the Rockers. And if you have been following the Rockers all year long, I think it's time to be reminiscent and reflect on that and how the Rockers, played during that stretch, and hope the Rockers get into that same routine again and do that, because I think that if the Rockers do that, that's what they're going to need to do. They were really rolling on firing off all cylinders and really working well together. We talked to Miles Schroeder right where the second half began, and he said on the podcast, that was his favorite memory at that point, was the fact that we were in it to the very end. I think the Rockers are definitely going to go all the way down to the wire, like we said, in a great spot to make the playoffs. And you heard the skip. You heard Jimmy Keefe. They need a win tonight. Let's see if they get it.
Yeah, you can reminisce and remember for a little while, but not for too long, because you got to look forward towards that chance for the playoff spot. The time is now, and the time is now to head down to the field for the national anthem, which means that on deck is the ball game. Let's head down for the national anthem. It's the Rockers and the Blue Crabs next.
For the playing of our national anthem. Thank you.
High Point Rockers are on the field. We'll go ahead and let you know the lineup, though, for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs before we get underway. Kent Blackstone leading off. He's the second baseman. Billy Horn's waving at us down there. He said, hey, make sure you talk about him. So, hey, we'll talk about it. What a great job Billy Horn does out there every night.
Tremendous. He brings the energy, too.
All right, let's go ahead and give you that lineup for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. Kent Blackstone, second base, leading off. Edwin Carl, the shortstop, Edwin Garcia. He's got me all thrown off now. Edwin Garcia, the shortstop, will bat second. Joe Griffin, the designated hitter, hits third. Tony Thomas, the third baseman, will bat cleanup today. Corey Vaughn, the center fielder, will bat fifth. Charlie Valerio, the catcher, hits sixth. Joe Benson in left field will bat seventh. Josh McAdams at first base will hit eighth, and Carlos Silva will bat ninth and play right field. Kevin, who is the X factor for the Blue Crabs tonight? Who's the guy in the lineup that the Rockers are going to have to pay attention to the most?
I want to go with my guy, Edwin Garcia, but I'm not going to. I think I've gone with him before, and I talked about him a lot last night, so people know that I think he's one of the most underrated guys in the league. I don't use that as a slight. I just feel like, there's so many great shortstops in the league. It's hard to mention all of them. But I just think Edwin Garcia is phenomenal. But the guy I want to highlight is the guy who becomes the most dangerous hitter in the lineup besides Tony Thomas when Dean Green's out, and that's Corey Vaughn. Vaughn's the guy I'm looking for. Thomas had a big night last night. He's great and can't have two big nights in a row, but I think if someone's going to have a big night for the Blue Crabs, it's going to be Corey Vaughn tonight.
Joe Van Meter making the start for the High Point Rockers, 8-4 on the year, a glistening 2.57 ERA, and as Blackstone steps in, Van Meter kicks and deals. First pitch from BB&T Point is a strike, and we are underway. 100 strikeouts in 119 innings for Van Meter, and he deals the pitch, swing, and a miss, working quickly, count 0-2. Talk about all the pitchers who have started here for High Point this year, and there's been different times where, different people have showed ace-like stuff. Dominic DeMasi had a nice stretch. Michael Bowden's had a good stretch as that one's fouled off. But if you're talking about the ace of this staff, I think Joe Van Meter has showed ace-like stuff from day one all the way through now. I think he's clearly the guy.
I'm so glad you said that because you said that a lot better than I would. You said it a lot more eloquently than I would have been able to put it. You're absolutely right as that one takes a bounce there for a ball, and that's our first stolen base we're going to see here.
Yeah, Blackstone taking off for first base. As that ball gets away from Matt Jones, remember, you can steal first base on any pitch here in the Atlantic League, and Blackstone he lulled Jones to sleep a little bit there by not taking off immediately.
Well, Kendrick, you and I have been wondering when we were going to see it. To quote the great Blue Crabs announcer when the first one happened, we've seen it. We've seen one at BB&T Point now. Wow. Ken Blackstone takes off for first. Didn't mean to step on your call there.
No, that's okay.
Totally surprised me.
I hate to show my ignorance all of a sudden. Actually, no, I'm more displaying my terrible memory as the first pitch to Garcia, is a ball. But that's scored as a walk, right? We had a briefing on it. My memory has completely left me.
And we remembered it, and it never happened. So you and I put that right out of the brain. Somebody was asking me before the game about it. I couldn't remember. I told them, well, don't worry about it because we're not going to see it. Well, all right. Thank you, Kent Blackstone. I believe it is counted as a fielder's choice.
That's right.
I believe because it doesn't count as an offer.
Correct.
Because when it was a walk, it counted as going offer.
That's true.
And that's why because the first, that's a strike there to Garcia, the first incarnation of the rule was that it counted as a walk, which would result as you not having anything happen at the plate, so you didn't get any credit for it.
Runner goes, the 3-1 pitch misses ball 4, so there will not be a stolen base there. As Blackstone heads down to second, Edwin Garcia with a walk, and nobody out here in the top of the first inning. But Joe Van Meter finds himself in a little bit of trouble with Joe Griffin coming up to the plate.
And I think this is, I don't blame Joe Van Meter for having a little bit of an issue with dealing with Garcia. That's something that we haven't seen so much. Guys have not been doing it, so that can kind of, be a little shocking.
First pitch here to Joe Griffin, a called strike. Game time temperature 87 degrees. It'll drop down to 79 or so, just a hair under 80. By the time we are finished today, Rockers in the white pants and the military appreciation uniforms. Here's the 0-1, and that's a called strike. Blue Crabs wearing the gray jerseys. And Kevin, you told me what this was on this shirt before.
Well, the Rockers are wearing their military uniforms, right, and the Blue Crabs are wearing their military uniforms.
Okay, yeah. You said it's an image. You said it was
Iwo Jima.
Yes. Here's the 0-2. That's down in the dirt. Good block there by the catcher, Jones. And so the count is 1-2. A reminder, tomorrow's game will be a doubleheader now. Thursday's game's been moved to tomorrow as the Carolinas brace for the incoming Hurricane Dorian, as that one is swung on and missed, strike 3. And there's the first out of the inning. We'll go ahead and take a look at the Rockers defensively, left to right in the outfield. Richie Schaefer in left, Miles Schroeder in center. Jared Mitchell is in right field. Hector Gomez at third. Giovanni Alfonso at short. The second baseman, Michael Russell. First base, Stephen Cardullo. Matt Jones behind the plate. And the pitch to Thomas swung on. He pops this one out into shallow center field. The second baseman, Russell, makes the catch. Thought he was going to be called off by Alfonso, but Russell at second makes the catch. So after the first two hitters get on base, Joe Van Meter has settled in here a little bit and retired the next two. So that'll bring up Corey Vaughn. Corey Vaughn, a .262 hitter. And here's the pitch. That's going to be a ball on the outer part of the plate. Both lines are in shadow here at BB&T Point. Most of the infield is, except for Michael Russell at second. And there's a called strike on the curveball, 1-1. Shadows down left and right field lines. Center field is in bright sunlight, as is the left fielder, Richie Schaefer. And here's the 1-1 swing and a miss there, 1-2. And Van Meter comes set, deals the 1-2, a fastball. That's going to stay away. And the count now 2-2. They were trying to change the eye level there of Corey Vaughn a little bit, but couldn't get him to chase. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here, and 2 on. Deuce is wild in the first. Van Meter kicks and deals. Curveball. Strike 3 looking. After the first 2 hitters reach base, Joe Van Meter bears down and retires the next 3 in a row. So the Blue Crabs strand 2, and we'll go to the bottom of the first inning with the Rockers taking their first cracks at the plate. This is High Point Rockers Baseball.
Hi, this is Peggy Rojas, host of Viviendo una Vida en Balance here at Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you can come back and check my show, Viviendo una Vida en Balance, where we talk about life hacks to live a life in balance. And the show's in Spanish. A new show comes out every Monday, so don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and share with your friends. Again, thank you for checking out the following broadcast in Public House Media.
How's it going, everybody?
Hey guys,
This is Keith.
and Katie from Coffee with Keith and Katie on Public House Media.
Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
When you're done listening to this show, I hope you'll come check out our show, Coffee with Keith and Katie. A new episode comes out every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock.
Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Julianne Condia, host of Rewritten here on Public House Media. Thank you so much for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Rewritten, where we will talk about you having limitless potential and can rewrite your story at any time. No matter your background, your past, or current situation, you can have the type of life you crave. A new show comes out every single Monday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Rewritten. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Bottom of the first inning, and we'll take a look at the High Point Rockers, the way that Jamie Keefe's sending them to the dish tonight. Stephen Cardullo leading off, Jared Mitchell batting second. Hector Gomez will hit third. The DH Quincy Lattimore is the cleanup hitter. Richie Schaefer in left field bats fifth. Miles Schroeder will bat sixth. He's in center field tonight. Michael Russell, the second baseman, hits seventh. Matt Jones, the catcher, bats eighth. And Giovanni Alfonso, the leadoff man, rounds it off. Kevin McGovern making the start today for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. And if you don't remember that name, that's okay. He pitched Winnipeg in the American Association for the last 3 seasons. Actually 5 seasons dating back to 2015. Was 12-7 this year with a 3.85 ERA for Winnipeg. 95 strikeouts and 126 innings. Kevin, listen to this, though. 3 years ago for Winnipeg, 13-3 with a 2.56 earned run average. So this is a guy with 53 career wins in professional level. So Kevin McGovern is a guy who has proven that he can be a quality pitcher in professional baseball.
What's the name of the team he's on? Winnipeg what?
I don't know.
Oh, you're not. Okay. All right.
Gold Eyes.
Gold Eyes. How about that? That sounds like it's like the James Bond vehicle.
Well, the first pitch to Cardulo down low, and good eyes there for Cardulo.
Speaking of the Gold Eyes, I saw a gentleman today wearing a Gold Eyes hat.
Cardulo taking there 1-1.
And it happened to be the father of Kevin McGovern. I was having a hot dog, and I heard a very intelligent fan talking, as that one is a ball, and I'm like, this guy knows a lot. So he was I started to eavesdrop, but he was talking about the new rules, and we were talking about it, and I had a great conversation with him. So I just want to say hello again.
That pitch, a called strike, off-speed pitch in there, 2-2. He's got a very free-flowing motion. If you watch McGovern there on the mound, looks very effortless. Words. What's the word? Effortless.
Effortless, and he does it very effortlessly.
Oh, my goodness. Cardulo just getting a piece of that one, 2-2. But he looks good out there. It's free-flowing motion, but you've seen his numbers and see some of his pitches here as he's got 2-2 to Cardulo. Clearly, this guy knows what he's doing out there. Another off-speed pitch just missing. That's a good pitch by McGovern, and the count goes full. I cannot believe I struggled so hard with that word.
It's okay. You work hard.
Here's the 3-2, and that's going to stay away ball 4. So we saw the stealing first base leading off the first inning. The untraditional walk, I guess we could say.
That's right.
And Cardulo works one the old-fashioned way to lead off the bottom of the first.
I'm going to try to grab in here jump in here as Jared Mitchell comes up. We do need to clean up what we said about the stolen base to first base. That's the first one we have seen at BB&T Point, the first one to happen, and it would be scored as a walk, not as a fielder's choice. I had my explanations backwards.
First pitch to Jared Mitchell, a called strike.
It used to be scored as a fielder's choice, and that was negatively affecting guys' batting averages. And now it's scored as a walk, which doesn't affect your batting average at all.
But to play the devil's advocate never negatively affects the pitcher then, because it gives him a walk for throwing one pitch that gets away. And here's the 0-1 to Mitchell. I think time must have been called as the home plate umpire had stepped out.
And my answer to that would be, with the way this rule is, it's going to negatively affect somebody.
It's a win-lose, however you set it up.
Yeah, someone's going to benefit and someone's not, unfortunately, the way that rule's set up.
So the count 0-1 to Mitchell. McGovern working from the third base side of the rubber, kicks and deals, and that's down and away, 1-1.
And if a guy takes off in an 0-1 count, you can't count it like you would a drop third strike, because you can't give a guy a strikeout in an 0-1 count.
Exactly.
Because I could hear some fans watching right now saying, why don't you just score as a third drop strike? You can't.
Here's the 1-1, and that's down low as the catcher Charlie Valerio scoops it up just above the turf, and the count is 2-1.
And one more note about that. We saw Matt Jones reach first on a drop third strike rule that was able to happen because of the introduction of the stolen base rule, but it was not a stolen first base. So Blackstones was the first.
Mitchell chops this one on the ground to second. Nice flip over to Garcia for one. The throw on to first in time, a double play. Nice job by the middle infielders of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. And as they turn that double play, let's go ahead and meet the rest of the Southern Maryland defense.
Let's do it right now. In left field is Joe Benson, Corey Vaughn in center field, Ruby Silva out there in right field. One of the best names in Atlantic League Baseball, Tony Thomas over at third base, a great batter as well, a great player. One of my favorite guys in the league, Edwin Garcia, a great shortstop. As this one is a ball to Hector Gomez. I'll speed up here. Kent Blackstone at second base, McAdams at first base, and Charlie Valerio behind the plate.
And here's the pitch to Gomez, and that's going to stay in, and the count is 2-0. So the Rockers had the leadoff man aboard, weren't able to do anything as he was retired on a double play, so now it's up to Hector Gomez here with 2 outs to make a little magic. McGovern kicks and deals the 2-0, taking all the way is Gomez, and it's in there for a strike, and the count 2-1. McGovern deals. Here's the 2-1. It's an off-speed pitch, and again, Gomez takes the count even at 2. Gomez hitting a .293, 10 home runs on the year. Blasted number 10 last night to join the double-digit club. He swings and lines this one into center field, and it's not going to be caught. Picking it up on a hop is the center fielder Vaughn, as Gomez has himself a 2-out single.
Well, you could tell Corey Vaughn lost it, but he doesn't need to seem to. Do not feel bad, Corey Vaughn. Guess what? I lost it. Hector lost it. Because you saw Gomez just kind of was running up the first baseline, kind of looking for where it went. I completely lost it. Like you said, the way it kind of jumped off the bat like it was going to be number 11 right there in home run. So a tough play for Corey Vaughn, but don't feel too bad. Everybody kind of lost that one. It's a bright day here. Beautiful day.
Here's a guy who knows all about home runs. Quincy Lattimore has 20 of them this year. And first pitch to Lattimore is ball 1, a guy who does most of his damage with 2 outs. Obviously, you can't play the what-if game, but you certainly would think, as that pitch is a called strike 1-1, if Cardullo had not been retired on that double play, there's a chance he scores on that hit from Gomez because that ball was lost out there in the field by Vaughn. McGovern comes set. Here is the 1-1. Gomez faked as if he were going to go, but does not do so. The pitch down low, and it's 2 balls, 1 strike.
Hector Gomez loves stealing second base. He's done it a bunch of times this year for the Rockers. That's part of his game.
And here's the pitch. A big swing from Lattimore, but just nicked it in the count 2-2. Gomez, again, takes a heavy first step or two off of first base when the pitcher begins his motion. Try to distract the pitcher and get a little attention away from the hitter. And the count 2-2 now. McGovern comes set. Ready to deliver the 2-2 to Quincy Lattimore. Holds the set. Runner goes. Here's the pitch. Swung on and skied out of play down the first base side. Count stays 2-2. And Gomez has to turn back and head to first.
Here's what makes Hector Gomez's move so dangerous. He doesn't lead off. He doesn't really take a huge lead. Usually, a guy gives away the fact that he's going to steal with a massive lead. Hector Gomez is so fast, he doesn't have to.
And here is the 2-2 again. Runner goes. And Lattimore again fouls this one up and out of play. And again, Hector Gomez has to head to first. If you're McGovern, knowing that Gomez has run 2 pitches in a row, do you throw over here just to keep him a little honest?
It's a 2-2 count. I might throw something out here because he's going to go again, and he might be getting a little tired. Yeah, something that to get Quincy to chase, so Valerio can throw down a second, maybe get Gomez because you know he's going to go again.
Here is the 2-2. Gomez does not go. Lattimore hits this one into left center field. This one is caught on the run by the left fielder Benson, battling the sun for the final out of the inning. So we've played one here at BB&T Point. No score between the Rockers and the Blue Crabs. This is High Point Rockers baseball.
This is John Lauder, host of The Cheap Seats here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, The Cheap Seats, where we talk about sports from the fans' perspective. A new show comes out every Monday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of The Cheap Seats. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
What do you think?
B66.
Is that your final answer? This is Kim Meyer, the host of Choose to Rise here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Choose to Rise, where we talk about living with positive mindsets, how to increase our confidence, building our faith, and living out our life on purpose. A new show comes out via podcast every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if you want to catch the episode live instead, stop by Public House Media around 6:45 Central Standard Time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday as well. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of Choose to Rise. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hi, this is Emily.
This is Lindsay.
And this is Elizabeth, co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Once you are done with this episode, we hope you'll come check out our show, Beauties and Headcanons, where we talk nerdy to you about fandoms, fan fiction, and all pop culture for nerds that you can think of. A new show comes out every Friday.
Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Dr. Mariah White, host of Your Life Matters, here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Your Life Matters, where we talk about dreaming big and dreaming bold to reach your wildest dreams in both your health and your happiness.
Top of the second, catcher Charlie Valerio steps in, and first pitch from Joe Van Meter is a called strike. It'll be Valerio, Benson, and McAdams. That's 6, 7, and 8 in the Southern Maryland lineup. And Van Meter deals. This one swung on and lined into left field, but right at Schaefer. It's a sinking liner, though, and he makes a nice catch as he goes down to his knees to retire Valerio. I think at first he thought that ball was a little higher up than it was, and it started to just sink on him, but he made a nice catch to Richie Schaefer.
That looked like nearly a guarantee for a leadoff single for Charlie Valerio. What a great effort play there by Richie Schaefer.
That'll bring up Joe Benson, the left fielder. And if Richie Schaefer did indeed have to battle the sun there, nobody would know it better than this guy at the plate, Joe Benson. As the first pitch to Benson misses for a ball.
Benson, the other left fielder tonight.
Which is why I thought that. That pitch down low, 2-0.
I knew where you were going.
I noticed this Tony Thomas at third base and Benson in left field both have, as he swings and hits this one on the ground to short. Alfonso scoops it, throws to first in time. And 2 quick outs here in the second. Both Thomas and Benson have a green sleeve on their throwing arm, their right arm.
Yeah, that's that bright yellow. They're trying to put the sun out of business with those bands. Those are really bright. I like those.
That'll bring up Josh McAdams, the first baseman. 310 hitter, 6 home runs, 29 RBIs. Kind of a surprise to see somebody that productive hitting 8th in the lineup. Obviously, not working with Southern Maryland every day as that pitch misses for a ball. I don't know the ins and outs of Stan Clyburn's lineup.
Well, earlier this year we saw Hector Gomez bat, I think 6th and 7th.
Swing and a miss there, 1-1.
Hector's a guy who can bat first, third, fourth. I mean, he has that kind of power. You put him 6th or 7th, that adds unbelievable depth to your lineup.
That one stays away in the count 2-1 now to McAdams.
And I think the placement of McAdams here, I think that's the same kind of choice being made by Clyburn. You want to add a ton of depth so a pitcher can't take off when he gets to the 8-9 hitters.
And here is the 2-1, and Van Meter certainly is pitching him carefully as that one stays down 3-1.
And you can kind of catch a pitcher off guard. You're trying to see if he's paying attention. Because he's probably thinking, okay, I'm around 8.
Here's the pitch, swung on and popped up out of play, and the count is 3-2.
You know, Van Meter's probably thinking, okay, this is the 8th guy, so you have your what you typically think about that kind of hitter. But as you said, Van Meter definitely knows who McAdams is.
Swing and a high drive down the right field line. It's curling foul, and the count stays 3-2. At the end of the day, just another hard foul ball. Van Meter's retired 5 in a row And here's the 3-2. Strike three with the fastball, and McAdams knew it. A 1-2-3 second for Joe Van Meter. He looks good. We go to the bottom of the second. Still no score. This is High Point Rockers baseball.
This is Daniel Poppy, host of How to Write Good here on Public House Media. I just want to thank you for listening to the following broadcast brought to you by Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope that you'll come check out my show, How to Write Good, the writing show that is not about writing. A new show of How to Write Good comes out every Wednesday, so don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of How to Write Good. Again, thanks for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Bryce Burge, host of Your Soccer Passport here on Public House Media. After this episode, come join us on a trip around the soccer world as we discuss club and country every Tuesday. Stamp your soccer passport by subscribing on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your Public House Media podcasts. And thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
What's up, everybody? This is Christian Heimel, host of Press Row here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Press Row, where we talk about the biggest issues in sports with the analysts, experts, and reporters who cover them. No nonsense, hard-hitting interviews on the sports topics you're talking about. A new show comes out every single Thursday. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Press Row. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Bottom of the second inning, High Point will have Schaefer, Schroeder, and Russell. And Kevin McGovern back on the mound. We talked about his past couple of seasons with the Winnipeg Goldeyes. How about this? He's the only player in Goldeyes franchise history with 3 consecutive 100 strikeout seasons, and they won the American Association Championship back-to-back seasons. So not only is he a top-quality pitcher, but he's pitched in some championship games before, and he knows what it takes to get it done as the Blue Crabs, like the Rockers, are trying to make a postseason push here.
This is,
first pitch to Schaefer, taking ball 1.
You said he just got added, right, to the Blue Crabs?
This is his first start, yeah.
And this is the kind of guys that teams are going to get right now as they're making that push.
And this one's staying away, and the count 2-0. Schaefer swings, hits a high fly ball, not deep, into center field, racing in, and making the catch is Corey Vaughn as he had to go from sunlight to shade, but he puts it away for out number 1. That'll bring up Miles Schroeder, the Rockers center fielder.
Fielder, number 11, Miles Schroeder.
Schroeder hitting at 239. He's been right around that 240 mark for the majority of the second half. No more than 5 points above or 5 points below. He's just been very consistent in the second half. And that one, a called strike at the knees, 0-1. And here's the pitch. It is down, and the count 1-1. And McGovern deals. It's an off-speed pitch. That will just miss. 2 balls and a strike now as Schroeder has worked himself into a hitter's count. Quite a bit of action going on in the Atlantic League today as Schroeder lines this one to short, and Garcia makes the catch for the second out of the inning.
That's a tough play by Garcia. That one hit right at him, but you could easily drop that one, and he made a good catch on it. Hard hit.
Patriots and Bees, a doubleheader tonight. The Patriots have a 3-0 lead in Game 1, that one nearing its conclusion. Ducks and Barnstormers just now got underway. The Revolution and Skeeters have their first pitch in about an hour. His first pitch to Michael Russell is in there for a strike. So we'll certainly keep an eye on the Ducks as usual, but I'm keeping an eye on Somerset and New Britain as well, and it's definitely going to go to the Rockers' favor if Somerset holds on to win this first game, as Russell grounds this one to second. Blackstone throws to first in time for the final out. It's a 1-2-3 second for Kevin McGovern. We go to the top of the third. No score. This is High Point Rockers baseball.
This is Madeline, host of Crowned and Dangerous here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back to check out my show, Crowned and Dangerous, where Jessica and I talk about our time in the pageant world. A new show comes out bi-weekly on Thursdays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Crowned and Dangerous. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Liz Colburn, host of The Morning Uplift here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back and check out my show, The Morning Uplift, where we talk about finding your beauty in the journey. A new show comes out twice a month on the first and third Mondays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of The Morning Uplift. Thank you again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Rachel Mullins, host of #NoFilterFriday here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my new show, #NoFilterFriday, where we talk about all of the sexual misconduct allegations swirling around Hollywood. A new show drops every Friday at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of #NoFilterFriday. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Jessica Hammer, co-host of Crowned and Dangerous here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Crowned and Dangerous, where Maddie and I talk about all things pageant related, especially our experiences in the Miss America organization. A new show comes out bi-weekly, every other Thursday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Crowned and Dangerous. Thanks again for checking.
Top three, it's going to be Ruby Silva, and then back around to the top of the lineup for the Blue Crabs. Joe Van Meter's first pitch misses down low, ball one. No score here between the Rockers and the Blue Crabs, as Van Meter's retired the last 6 Southern Maryland hitters. Silva swings and misses, and the count 1-1. We'll take a look at the standings in the next inning, but what I was saying, or what I was looking at when I was just glancing at him, is Silva chases a high fastball 2-2. How about the run differential? The High Point Rockers lead the league in run differential at plus 87. The York Revolution second place at plus 69, so that's really impressive. That just shows you how well-rounded your offense and your pitching is, as that pitch goes up and the count 2-2. You feel comfortable as a pitching staff knowing that your offense can get it done and vice versa. As that one's fouled off, you feel comfortable as a hitter knowing that your pitchers are going to do what it takes to keep you in this game. Here's the 2-2 from Van Meter. And it's a curveball, strike three looking. He drops the old Uncle Charlie right there. Back-to-back strikeouts going back to last inning, and that's one away here in the third.
You can tell Van Meter the way he was kind of galloping off the mound after that strikeout. He's feeling good. He's getting into his zone right now, and that's bad news if you're a Southern Maryland Blue Crabs fan, because when Joe Van Meter is at his best, he is nearly untouchable. I don't want to jinx him, but he is really hard to touch.
First pitch to Blackstone, missing for a ball. And here's the pitch down low, 2-0. Obviously, he needs the Rockers to score some runs here for this to come into a play. But if he wins tonight, he'll have 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 more chances to pick up his 10th win of the year, go to double digits. He's at 8 right now. And here's the 2-0, and it's in their first strike, 2-1. And that'd be huge to be the first Rocker to get to double-digit wins.
Absolutely, and he's been such a difference maker this year.
Swung on and lined into right field. That's a base hit. First hit of the game for the Blue Crabs. And that's off the bat of Blackstone, who is reaching first for the second time after the quote-unquote steal of first base in his first at-bat.
He's had a very interesting night so far. Stolen base, a single. It'll be fascinating to see how Joe Van Meter approaches the at-bat of Kent Blackstone next time he arrives to the plate.
There's Edwin Garcia. He walked his first time up. Rockers middle infield looking for the twin killing. First pitch is a strike. And the count 0-1. Garcia, a solid .263 hitter, 4 home runs, 47 driven in. Runner goes. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled up out of play. And so the count 0-2 as Blackstone will be returned to first base.
All right, here I would throw over, or I would do what I was saying the first time. Throw something for Garcia to throw to, and get the ball quickly to Jones if you could. He's got a great arm. I would maybe throw over to Blackstone. I know Van Meter doesn't usually worry about the runner, but he's been moving a lot today.
Runner goes again. The 0-2 swung on, hit high in the air to center field. Back goes Schroeder and makes the catch for out number 2. And Blackstone heads back to first base. That's a difficult play for Miles Schroeder to make, battling the elements out there. And by the elements, I mean the sun.
Van Meter in good shape pitch count wise. I always keep an eye on the pitch count. And I want to because, those are the numbers that Jamie Keefe and Frank Viola really use to monitor where they're going to keep their guys at. He's at 38 right now. 39, excuse me. This is the 40th pitch on the way.
Joe Griffin, who struck out his first time up as the hitter and takes a curveball down low, ball 1. Good look there, and good job for Matt Jones making the catch behind the plate. Griffin, 8 home runs on the year, was really struggling earlier. His runner goes and just gets a piece of it, I think. It hit Matt Jones. I'm not sure.
It hit off of... hit off Lindy Hall's face mask. So he's going to come back, and I wasn't sure if Griffin got a piece of it or not, but, I guess Hall is part of the field if it didn't hit Griffin, but I was hoping that it did hit the bat of Griffin because, that's not really fair for Jones because that one ended up hitting Griffin or hitting Hall, and he didn't really have a play on it.
It's ruled a foul ball. I believe it did hit Matt Jones, though, as well, the way that he took his mask off. He looked to be in a little bit of discomfort there for a moment. Here's the 1-1, and that's a ball inside, and this time Blackstone does not go.
And it probably did hit Jones, but let me tell you, it got a majority of Hall. He really took a shot there.
Well, it's a live ball if it hits the umpire. But obviously it was a foul ball, so here's the pitch. That's a called strike, and the count 2-2. I'll tell you what, though. I didn't see it hit Hall, but if it did, he brushed it off like a champ out there.
Yeah, he waved to both dugouts, and he's like, let's go. I'm like, man, you can take a minute. If you're that hit him hard.
Blackstone takes his lead off of first, goes. Here's the 2-2 curveball, fouled off. And again, Blackstone has to head to first. That's 3 or 4 times he's taken off, and even without a throw over, he's not been able to advance to second because the hitters aren't getting the job done at the plate.
And that's not really Van Meter's game, doing the small ball with the runner. He doesn't really care. He works quick, and he worries about the batter, especially with 2 outs. He trusts his stuff and his ability to get out of the inning. So I like that strategy as well. He doesn't let the runner get to him at all.
Here's the 2-2. Runner goes again, swung on, and again fouled back to the screen.
Also, what you're doing here is you let Blackstone keep jogging down to second, and it's more than a jog. It's almost it's probably 25% away from being a full sprint. You're really wearing him out, so
Absolutely.
That could come back because he's not a DH either. He plays at second base, so he's really wearing himself out here early in the top of the 3rd inning.
It's like running little sprints back and forth. Doesn't go this time. Strike 3 at the knees. Another good one for Joe Van Meter. That's strikeout number 5 through 3 innings. We go to the bottom half of the 3rd. Still no score. This is High Point Rockers Baseball.
This is Jenna Burt, host of the Confessions of a Military Spouse podcast here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Confessions of a Military Spouse, where we dig deep and talk about the unspoken hard truths of what it's really like to be a military spouse. A new show comes out bi-weekly. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Confessions of a Military Spouse. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hi, this is Peggy Rojas, host of Viviendo una Vida en Balance here at Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you can come back and check my show, Viviendo una Vida en Balance, where we talk about life hacks to live a life in balance. And this show's in Spanish. A new show comes out every Monday, so don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and share with your friends. Again, thank you for checking out the following broadcast in Public House Media.
How's it going, everybody?
Hey guys.
This is Keith.
And Katie from Coffee with Keith and Katie on Public House Media.
Thanks for listening to the following broadcasts on Public House Media.
When you're done listening to this show, I hope you'll come check out our show, Coffee with Keith and Katie. A new episode comes out every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock.
Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Specialty taco for just $2 American dollars.
Top or bottom of the third inning. I'm getting going back in time there. Matt Jones will lead off for the Rockers. It'll be Jones, Alfonso, and back to the top with Cardulo. Just thinking top of the third because of how long that last at-bat went with Blackstone keep taking off at second base, or at first base, I should say. Matt Jones, his first crack at it here tonight, hitting a .203. And here is the pitch. Swings and hits it off the end of the bat to third base. Thomas knocks it down. Now picks it up and throws on to first base in time for out number one. That one kind of ate Thomas up there for a moment, but he kept it close by. And since Matt Jones is a catcher, pretty easy to retire him still at first base.
And Thomas is a good third baseman. He didn't really let that bother him. You know, some guys can lose it and get all out of sorts and end up giving that up as a base hit. Not Thomas. He's such a great third baseman that he really didn't let that affect him, and he just kept going through his motion and was able to get the man at first base.
Here's Giovanni Alfonso, number 9 man in the lineup, his first crack at it today. And he takes ball one. Identical line scores here, 0-1 and 0 for both sides.
So happy Giovanni's back in the lineup.
And he takes a strike on the inner part of the plate there, count 1-1. A lot of his teammates are as well. We talk about him being a spark plug in this lineup and in the field defensively. Here's the 1-1. It's an off-speed pitch, and Alfonso way out in front just gets a piece of it down the third baseline as that ball rolls all the way down into the bullpen for the Blue Crabs, count 1-2.
No, in my opinion, he's a guy you have to have on your team, especially when you play, 120 games, 140 games. You got to have a guy with a great attitude at all times. That's what Giovanni does. He has a great attitude no matter what.
Here's the 1-2. It's a fastball in, and the count 2-2. A good look there by Alfonso. He's from Port St. Lucie, Florida, and of course we're thinking about the Florida area this week as they brace for Hurricane Dorian. Alfonso fouls this one off. As I saw earlier today, looks like the outer bands of it are starting to hit some of the beaches and some of the eastern side of the state. So definitely thinking about all those people down there right now. Also, on a related note, as Alfonso swings and pops this one up into shallow right field, or center field rather, as Vaughn makes the catch for out number 2. We should mention that the Rockers game on Thursday night has been moved to tomorrow in preparation for, or as a result of the impending hurricane, I suppose I should say. So the first game tomorrow starts at 5 o'clock with a little break in between. Second game after that. They're 2 7-inning games, and it's going to be 90s night tomorrow.
And it's going to be Dollar Beer Night. One ticket gets you into both games, so come out. I am so excited for 90s night. That music, I'm ready.
Here's Steven Cardulo, who takes first pitch ball 1. All right, what is the one song they have to play tomorrow?
The Boy Is Mine, Brandy.
All right.
I was just thinking about that. I got to hear that one. I love that one.
Cardulo swings and fouls this one off in the count 1-1.
You got to have some Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
I want to hear like some really bad 90s alternative rock. I use bad in an endearing way. Like Superman by Goldfinger. That's the kind of level I want.
I'm going to throw maybe a little under the radar as that pitch down low. Wasn't Mr. Jones by Counting Crows the late 90s?
Yeah, it was. That's kind of what I want. Yeah. I want kind of that too.
Cardullo swings and fouls this one off in the count 2-2.
A little Celine Dion maybe.
Okay,
as well.
Sure.
Some Britney was 2000. Sorry, I was going to say Britney, but she's 2000s. You might squeeze her in. I think she might have been 99.
Cardullo lines this one into right field. If it's fair, it's trouble. It is fair. It's going to get down in the corner. Cardullo's got speed. He's probably thinking 3. He rounds second. Here comes the throw in. No, Cardullo comes back to back to second, I should say, as Blackstone catches the throw from right field. Man, I think he had a shot at 3 if he had kept going.
Easy for me to say up here that he would have made it. So he made the right choice by holding up there. But I think if he... it would have been a test, though. What do they always say? What's the baseball rule? Don't make the third out of third base. So he probably did a good job there of holding up. And you got a man in scoring position with the top of the lineup still out and about here with Jared Mitchell coming up, the number 2 hitter here in the bottom of the third, 2 outs.
That was the 32nd double of the year for Steven Cardullo. As Mitchell, who bounced into a double play his first time up, steps in now. And McGovern will step off the rubber as Edwin Garcia was heading over to second base to try to keep Cardullo honest.
Britney Spears was 2000, if you were wondering. The year 2000.
And here's the pitch to Mitchell. He swings, rips this one on the ground. Could be trouble. It gets through into right field for a base hit. They're waving around Cardullo. Here comes the throw to the plate. The tag is in time. He's out. They missed him with the initial tag. Cardullo tried to wrap around the catcher Valerio, but Valerio stayed close and applied the tag in time for the final out of the inning. So excitement at the plate, excitement at the point. And that's how things wrap up here in the bottom of the third inning. We'll step aside, come back for the fourth. This is High Point Rockers Baseball.
Hi, this is Peggy Rojas, host of Viviendo una Vida en Balance here at Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you can come back and check my show, Viviendo una Vida en Balance, where we talk about life hacks to live a life in balance. And the show's in Spanish. A new show comes out every Monday, so don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and share with your friends. Again, thank you for checking out the following broadcast in Public House Media.
How's it going, everybody?
Hey, guys.
This is Keith.
And Katie from Coffee with Keith and Katie on Public House Media.
Thanks for listening to the following broadcasts on Public House Media.
When you're done listening to this show, I hope you'll come check out our show, Coffee with Keith and Katie. A new episode comes out every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock.
Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
In the Triad area. That's World Relief Triad.
This is Julianne Condia, host of Rewritten here on Public House Media. Thank you so much for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Rewritten, where we will talk about you having limitless potential and can rewrite your story at any time. No matter your background, your past, or current situation, you can have the type of life you crave. A new show comes out every single Monday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Rewritten. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Top of the fourth inning, no score here at BB&T Point, and the first pitch to Tony Thomas is in there for a strike. Excuse me, it missed for ball one, close pitch. And the 1-0 swung on and lined off of the glove of Cardullo at first. He races over to pick it up. The throw on to first, not going to be in time. Van Meter was covering. Thomas beats it out, an infield base hit. Good job by Cardullo to knock it down, but it was hit so hard he couldn't get clean glove on it.
And that was a great block by Cardullo. And I was a little surprised he even tried to make the throw because we've seen a couple of times, especially recently, where guys have been kind of pushing to make that throw over there on that side, and the ball gets thrown out of play. So nice choice by Cardullo to make it because he made it so precisely that he didn't hurt himself there. And a really good play to at least block it. That could have been trouble.
So a leadoff single for Thomas brings up Corey Vaughn, and he fouls that one off, and the count is 0-1.
Thomas moves quick. If that gets past Cardullo, and depending on how Mitchell approaches it, that could get away from him and become a double. So good block.
Vaughn has 20 home runs on the year. Fouls this one off. Count 0-2. We're talking about the doubleheader tomorrow. Probables, Edwin Carl and Michael Bowden for the Rockers. Darryl Thompson, Dustin Knight, who had a fantastic last outing, struck out 12 in his last start. There's an off-speed pitch that misses down and away 1-2. So it looks like it should be two very good pitching matchups tomorrow.
Anytime we get to see Darryl Thompson and Michael Bowden on the same day, it's a good day at the ballpark. Edwin Carl's going to go again as well, so you're going to see a lot of good pitching.
And here's the 1-2 swung on. He's late on it. Hits in the air to right field. Mitchell gliding over towards right field line makes the catch. And heading back to first base is Thomas. There's out number 1.
Especially with the way those guys pitch, especially Darryl Thompson, we could see a couple complete games tomorrow with only 7 innings on the table.
In fact, you could see multiple.
That's what I'm saying. You could see a couple of them.
That's right. Yeah, that's what a couple means, multiple. You're right. I don't have any excuse. I had 2 hours of sleep for yesterday's game. I had 9 last night. I have no excuse today. Here's the first pitch. Runner goes. The throw down to second is high. It's into center field. But Thomas does not pick it up until Schroeder has already recovered the ball. It'll be a stolen base there. As the cannon to Matt Jones was aimed a little high, and Giovanni Alfonso, no chance of catching it.
Even though the throw was high, it shows you what a great arm that Matt Jones has, that he was able to fire it down there so quick. Thomas was already long gone by the time he threw it, and he still got it pretty close. So it shows you Matt Jones, and all the credit in the world to Miles Schroeder, who came collapsing in from center field and single-handedly prevented Thomas from going to third base.
That pitch was a strike, so here's the 0-1. That's going to be ripped into right field. That's a base hit. They're waving around Thomas. Mitchell picks it up. Here comes the throw. He's airmailed this one over everyone's head. It's picked up by Van Meter. The throw down to second, not in time. And so that'll be an RBI single for Valerio. He'll go to second on the throw, but Tony Thomas comes in to score, and the Blue Crabs have scored first. It's 1-0.
And you know what? Great backup there by Joe Van Meter. If Van Meter's not there, that is 3 for Valerio. Probably no problem, even though he did advance on the throw in. If the ball gets away from Jones and Van Meter's not there, that's going to be 3, and who knows? That thing rolls around and gets out of play. It could be him coming in to score. So nice play by Van Meter. Only 1 run gets by.
There's Joe Benson, the former Minnesota Twin. He'll take a strike.
And only 1 out. And your typical double play out of the question for the moment here. A ground ball to first won't cost you 2 necessarily.
Another fastball from Van Meter. This one stays just a bit away, and the count now 1-1. We're in the top of the 4th inning. Blue Crabs with a 1-0 lead at BB&T Point. Interesting developments in the Somerset New Britain game as here's the pitch. It's an off-speed pitch. It's a beauty. It's a called strike on the curveball from Joe Van Meter, count 1-2.
And they have a doubleheader going on, right?
They do. They've just finished the 6th inning.
Of game 1?
Of game 1, and the Somerset Patriots have just tied it up 5-5 with 2 runs in the 6th. So with 1 inning to go in the first scheduled game, they are all knotted up. This is a high fly ball hit into center field, not deep. Schroeder is there. He makes the catch, and the throw comes into third base. So staying at second is Charlie Valerio for out number 2. So yeah, they're tied in game 1 right now of that game. The Ducks trail 1-0 to the Barnstormers. That one's just started about 20 minutes ago. But Rockers are keeping an eye on the Bees. We're going to not go into all the confusing details, but long story short, the biggest threat for the Rockers not making the playoffs, in a sense, is the New Britain Bees. So keeping an eye on their performance tonight.
The Patriots come into play too, though, when you look at the wild card, depending on what happens.
There's a curveball that stays up and in 1-0. Luckily for the Rockers, though, Somerset has had just an absolutely miserable second half.
And the Rockers had, like I said in the pregame, such a great first half.
That one's fouled off down the third base side, 1-1.
They are, the Rockers are 4 games ahead, it appears, of the Somerset Patriots right now. 4 or 5 games ahead of them. So, in a sense, I guess you would want the Bees to win.
This one is fouled up and out of play, and the count is 1-2.
Excuse me. I mean you would want the Patriots to win. On the other hand, if the Rockers keep losing, I don't think there's a real threat of the Bees jumping the Ducks and the Rockers to win the first half or to win the second half.
Curveball swing and a miss, strike 3. Jones applies the tag, and we'll hold that discussion here for a little bit, but we'll talk more standings in the next inning. We're going to go to the bottom of the fourth first, I should say. Rockers down 1-0 after an RBI base hit from Charlie Valerio.
This is Rachel Mullins, host of No Filter Friday, here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my new show, No Filter Friday, where we talk about all of the sexual misconduct allegations swirling around Hollywood. A new show drops every Friday at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of No Filter Friday. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Spin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fans, quick little reminder that tomorrow features a doubleheader starting at...
This is Daniel Poppy, host of How to Write Good here on Public House Media. I just want to thank you for listening to the following broadcast, brought to you by Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope that you'll come check out my show, How to Write Good, the writing show that is not about writing. A new show of How to Write Good comes out every Wednesday, so don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of How to Write Good. Again, thanks for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Bryce Burge, host of Your Soccer Passport here on Public House Media. After this episode, come join us on a trip around the soccer world as we discuss club and country every Tuesday. Stamp your soccer passport by subscribing on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your Public House Media podcasts. And thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
What's up, everybody? This is
Bottom of the fourth inning. Let's take a look at the Atlantic League standings. We've been talking about them. Might as well show them to you or tell it to you if you're listening on speaker. If you're watching on YouTube, happy to have you along in whichever medium you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
So you see the Ducks 29-21 in first place. The Rockers 5 out now at this point. 25 and 27 in the second half. It's been a rough second half, to say the least. At least a rough 4-game stretch for the Rockers, as that first pitch is a strike. The Bees 5.5 back. Patriots 10 games back. So if you look at the way that things stand right now, the Bees are right there at potentially jumping the Rockers for second place in the second half.
I just don't see that. I just don't see that happening. It could, but
I mean, it's a half game. It could happen today.
It's only a half game? I thought it was 5.5. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they are a half game behind them. Okay, so that is very possible. I don't see them catching the Ducks, though. I don't really see anybody catching the Ducks, unfortunately, right now, the way the Ducks are playing. I think if the Rockers can rattle a few off, they have the best chance because they're going to play the Ducks at the very end of the season.
Gomez swings, hits a hard ground ball to third base. McAdams will take it himself. There's one out here in the fourth.
Yeah, that's right. So it is a half game. You're right. So, yeah, the Bees are right behind the Rockers. However, they're not close in the wild card.
That's true. That's going to be the saving grace for the Rockers is the fact that they distance themselves from New Britain in the first half.
Because at a certain point, I think right now you're absolutely right, Kendrick. The focus is on the New Britain Bees and on the Long Island Ducks.
First pitch to Lattimore, misses for a ball.
To make sure, because the Rockers are still very much in this race to win the second half championship, and they want to do that and get in that way.
That pitch is a ball just below the knees, 2-0, but 5 games back with 18 to go. It's go time at this point.
I think in the next 9 games or so, we're going to see whether or not that's going to be a possibility or not.
Big swing from Lattimore, and the count 2-1.
Because once that's off the table, your focus, if York keeps their hold in the Freedom Division,
it's that pitch down low, 3-1,
which they're number 1 right now. Your focus then turns into, okay, we got to be locked in on the Patriots, and they're gonna play the Patriots 4 more times here at BB&T Point. Those are if the results kind of stay the way they are, those are going to be really important games.
Here's the 3-1 to Lattimore, taken all the way. That's a strike. In fact, that series starts a week from tomorrow with a 4-game set. The homestand starts a week from tomorrow. Those games start Friday, so it's a odd series. The series ends
2 and 4.
Well, right, but it's not a weekend series in the traditional sense, as that pitch is fouled off. It ends on Monday. They play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, a 4-game series against the Patriots. Finishing up with that Freedom Division, the Revolution have a 3-game lead over the Skeeters. The Blue Crabs 6.5 out, and the Barnstormers 10.5 out. So it's essentially a 2-team race in that division.
I would like to apologize to the Bees. I got my games mixed up. They're a half game back. They very much are in this race still.
The 3-2 to Lattimore is high, and that's ball 4. But I'll go ahead and say this as well. They're 5.5 out of first place. They're just a half out of moving up, though.
But let's think like a New Britain B for a second. If all of a sudden you've been in third place, you jump up to second place, and let's say they win and the Ducks lose tonight, all of a sudden you're 4.5 back in second place. That's a lot different than 5.5 back in third.
That's true. I'm keeping an eye on that game. The Patriots have 2 guys on in the top of the 7th inning with nobody out. They're trying to get to Brady Dragmeyer as the first pitch to Richie Schaefer misses for a ball.
And all this talk goes back to what Jamie Keefe, the manager of the High Point Rockers, said in the pregame interview with us. We got to win. We got to get W's, because if they get wins, their lead is such in the wild card, they're going to be okay.
That pitch down low, you're absolutely right. I was just about to say, all this other talk about what the Rockers, what kind of help they can get, that's all well and good, but you got to take care of you first.
Got to help yourself. Mm-hmm. And if they help themselves, if they get those wins, they're in.
Sure.
And like we said, if they can get as close as they can to 80 wins, they're going to be in great shape.
That's a tall order here with 18 games left. They'd have to go 14-4. To get to 80 exactly, as that pitch to Schaefer misses. He's now 3-0. Rockers already down in this one, 1-0.
As close as you can, 70, 75. I think
the Ducks are going to end up with 80, so I think it'll be a race to 75 for everybody else, as that pitch is in there for a strike. And the good thing is for the Rockers that because of how strong their first half is, that puts more pressure on everybody else if 75 ends up being your magic number.
That'd be 9 more wins for the Rockers.
Right. Which, that's 8-8. That's doable. 500 is doable. You want to be better than that, as that's a called strike at the chest and the count goes full. No. They've got Lattimore caught up in a rundown now over at second base. He thought it was ball 4.
Great running by Q here.
Now catcher Valerio has it. He throws over to Garcia, who will put the tag on Lattimore for the final out of the inning. He thought that was ball 4, as did Schaefer.
That's just strike 2.
Right, the count was full, though. He thought it was ball 4,
right, but
they
it's not
called
the final out of the inning.
Oh, did I say that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean that. That's the second out of the inning. But Lattimore thought that was ball 4, And so he was heading down to second base. Schaefer started to go to first base, but it was called a strike.
Well, he was, and Quincy wasn't even that far down. He was just kind of standing a little less than halfway, kind of waiting to see what was happening. And they threw right down the first, and he was stuck out there in no man's land, nowhere to go. That changes the at-bat.
It changes the entire complexion of the inning, as now there's 2 outs and nobody on. And McGovern, like that, is 1 strike away from getting out of this inning, facing the minimum hitters. And there's strike 3 looking. Down goes Schaefer for the final out of the inning. So a 1-2-3 bottom of the 4th. The Rockers can't respond to the Blue Crabs run. And we go to the top of the 5th, 1-0 Southern Maryland.
This is Christian Heimel, host of Press Row here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Press Row, where we talk about the biggest issues in sports with the analysts, experts, and reporters who cover them. No nonsense, hard-hitting interviews on the sports topics you're talking about. A new show comes out every single Thursday. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Press Row. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Madeline, host of Crowned and Dangerous here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back to check out my show, Crowned and Dangerous, where Jessica and I talk about our time in the pageant world. A new show comes out bi-weekly on Thursdays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Crowned and Dangerous. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Liz Colburn, host of the Morning Uplift here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back and check out my show, The Morning Uplift, where we talk about finding your beauty in the journey. A new show comes out twice a month on the 1st and 3rd Mondays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of The Morning Uplift. Thank you again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Rachel Mullins, host of No Filter Friday here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my new show, No Filter Friday, where we talk about all of the sexual misconduct allegations swirling around Hollywood. A new show drops every Friday at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of No Filter Friday. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Top of the 5th inning, it'll be Ruby Silva leading off, and he lines the first pitch off of Cardulo's glove at first base, and it goes into right field for a base hit. Steven Cardulo just an inch or so away from making a fantastic catch, but instead, Silva singles on the first pitch of the 5th inning.
He totally faked me out there. I thought Cardulo brought that in for the 3rd out.
It'll be the first out.
For the first out. It's all right. We're all trying to get these innings over quicker sooner than later.
That'll bring up the leadoff man, Kent Blackstone. Silva takes his lead off of first base. And here's the pitch. Runner goes. The throw down again high, but I think they might have got him. No, they didn't. Alfonso arguing. Blackstone slid really early. I didn't think he got to the bag. Alfonso is irate at second base. I thought Blackstone slid early and didn't make it to the bag with his slide.
He got him. I mean, he came off the bag. Giovanni tagged him. We have a great look at it right here. I thought he got him.
I thought he did too. But it was interesting. Jones double clutched the throw, but also Blackstone did not take off right away.
And you know what? This is a good time to bring up an interesting point that Jamie Keefe told us before the game, and he said we could use it. So he said last night when he talked to Larry Rosenberg, now that we've had so much baseball happen, I forget the play. It was the play. There was a close throw down to second
with Alfonso,
Alfonso as a base runner, and Keefe was adamant that there was no way Alfonso could have been tagged. And it was actually Giovanni Alfonso who told Jamie Keefe in between innings, Skip, I did get tagged. So Jamie Keefe went out there to Larry Rosenberg in between innings, or when he came back out and said, Larry, I'm really sorry. He apologized.
The 1-0, Blackstone shows bunt, pulls back 2-0.
Because Giovanni went to Keefe and said, actually, I did get tagged. So that's the kind of guy Giovanni Alfonso is. He, when he's out, he admits he's out. He's an honest guy. So for him to be that animated, that tells me that he knows he got him.
That pitch fouled off. Showing bunt again was Blackstone. It also shows what kind of guy Jamie is, too. That, hey, I unjustly accused you or basically called you out, So,
no, I mean, that's what we've been saying about these Rockers all year long, but that's the kind of team that Jamie Keefe put together. He wants good guys on this team.
And he leads by example.
I'm about to say they're led by a good guy. That's right.
Here's the 2-1. Again, Blackstone shows bunt almost inside. The throw down to second, try to get Silva from behind, not in time. The pitch was a ball, 3-1 now. So Blackstone's been trying hard to bunt Silva to third, but so far has not been able to as the count is 3-1. Joe Van Meter really trying to keep this deficit here. And this time he gets the bunt down. Van Meter picks it up. The throw's going to go to Russell, who's covering first base for out number 1, but Ruby Silva will head to third.
If Van Meter chose to throw it down to third base, it would have been close. I'm not sure he would have got him. It would have been close. But a really good call by Matt Jones there, who was directing traffic and looked over to Joe Van Meter and just pointed over to third base and said, Joe, you need to go to first base. And said, go to first. Go to first. And Van Meter took his advice and did that.
Rockers bring the infield in here against Edwin Garcia. And here's the pitch. It's an off-speed pitch, and that's going to stay just outside in the count 1-0. Obviously, you want to keep the deficit at 1-0, so until they get one more out, which would be the second out of the inning, they're making sure that keeping Ruby Silva from scoring is objective number 1. They're going to throw this one down to first base, or check with the first base umpire, I should say, to see if Garcia went around. He did not, so it's 2-0.
I think anything even remotely close here, you need that insurance run. So, yeah, it'll give you a second out if there's a play at the plate, but I say, and I know they're moving in for that throw in that out at home, but I don't know. I would go for it. I'd be a little risky here.
There's a fastball inside, and it's 3-0 now. Also, though, keep in mind a walk to Garcia loads or puts runners at the corners, which puts the double play back in play. So you'll see the infield change positions again at that juncture. 3-0, most likely not swinging here, and he is not. It's a strike in the count 3-1. And the 3-1 will just miss ball 4. So Garcia works a walk. And so the Blue Crabs have runners at the corners for Joe Griffin, who did not have a great start to the season, but has really picked things up recently in terms of power. 4 home runs last month to double his total from 4 to 8. And he's brought his average up quite a bit, too, in that time. So now most of the infielders have gone back to their normal positions with the double play on the table.
Double play would end the inning.
Van Meter has stepped off twice now to look at Garcia. That double play is dependent on Garcia not taking off on a pitch, so Van Meter is certainly going to give him some attention. And here is the first pitch, a big swing and a miss, strike 1. Silva, the runner at third. Garcia, the runner at first. It's 1-0 in favor of the Blue Crabs already here in the top of the 5th. Joe Van Meter trying to keep it there. Here is the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Got him with the low fastball. And the count 0-2. Van Meter in the driver's seat of this at-bat.
And getting that second out would be huge here with 2 guys on base. Because like you always say, Kendrick, there's no such thing as a productive out with 2 outs. So that would really make it difficult for the Blue Crabs to score if you can pick up 2 right here.
Griffin has already left 3 men on base tonight. He is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Van Meter deals. Swing and a miss, strike 3. His 3rd strikeout of the game in just 5 innings. And for Joe Van Meter, that is strikeout number 6. Actually 7, I can't count.
Fans were waiting for that one. The building got energized when Joe Van Meter got that out. They know how crucial it is, especially when you got a guy like Tony Thomas coming up.
And here is the pitch to Thomas, a big swing and a miss, strike 1. Tony Thomas is in Cooperstown. Well, at least his shoes are. He's the first person in the Atlantic League to steal first base. So Major League Baseball asked for his shoes, and he signed off on it, and off they went as he pops this one up and out of play, 0-2.
And I like what you did there. I think he actually signed them as well.
I'm not sure he did.
Maybe.
He potentially did.
He signed something and sent him in. I saw something signed, but no, that's pretty cool. I thought that was really neat when I read about that.
And here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Joe Van Meter bears down and ends up with strikeouts number 7 and 8, leaving runners stranded at the corners. We go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Rockers trail 1-0. This is High Point Rockers Baseball.
This is Rachel Mons, host of Hashtag No Filter Friday, here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my new show, Hashtag No Filter Friday, where we talk about all of the sexual misconduct allegations swirling around Hollywood. A new show drops every Friday at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of Hashtag No Filter Friday. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Are you guys ready? On your mark, get set, go.
This is Jessica Hammer, co-host of Crowned and Dangerous here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Crowned and Dangerous, where Maddie and I talk about all things pageant related, especially our experiences in the Miss America organization. A new show comes out bi-weekly, every other Thursday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Crowned and Dangerous. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
I think the only way to determine the winner tonight is with a rock, paper, scissors.
This is Jenna Burt, host of the Confessions of a Military Spouse podcast here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Confessions of a Military Spouse, where we dig deep and talk about the unspoken hard truths of what it's really like to be a military spouse. A new show comes out bi-weekly. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Confessions of a Military Spouse. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
To inspire, empower, and transform by building confidence and disciplines that transcend fitness into a community of mentally, emotionally, and physically strong women. That's Burn Boot Camp High Point. Leading off for your High Point Rockers.
Bottom of the 5th inning, Rockers trying to erase the 1-0 deficit. It's Miles Schroeder, Michael Russell, and Matt Jones. Kedrick Fruits, Kevin McMahon with you here on this Tuesday afternoon. Schroeder swinging and fouling this one off of Valerio's face mask, and that ball rocketed all the way down to the Southern Maryland bullpen.
And I can officially report that Miles Schroeder has the most unique walk-up song, if you can classify it as a song.
He takes a strike there, 0-2.
In the history of baseball.
All right, what is it?
The sound of crickets.
Sure.
Literally the sound of crickets.
Not Buddy Holly in the Crickets.
No, nice.
He pokes this one out into center field, racing over is Vaughn in the gap, makes the catch. They showed us a picture over here that crickets and the artist is silence. I like that. There's one out here as Schroeder flies out to center. That'll bring up Michael Russell, who is 0 for 1. This is a guy who's hit 300 for almost the majority of the second half, but he's recently dropped just below it at 297. He pokes this one high in the air to left field, and it's going to settle into the glove of Joe Benson. It looked like Russell had put a charge in it off of the bat, but it settled in, and Benson made the catch for his quick second out.
And that ball was moving. Might have been his 4th home run of the year. That one just stayed in the ballpark.
That'll bring up Matt Jones, grounded out to third, his first time up tonight. Also wanted to report the Patriots scored in the top of the 7th inning to take a 6-5 lead, but now the Bees have responded with a couple guys on base in the bottom of the 7th. Jones picks on this one and lines it into center field, a base hit. And so a 2-out single for Matt Jones brings up Giovanni Alfonso. Rockers trying for a little 2-out magic here in the 5th inning. Lights are on here as we're on the back end of what was a nice-looking sunset here in High Point tonight. But it's definitely heading into the later portions of the sunlight. Alfonso swings, hits this one in the air to right field. Going over is Silva, and he'll make the catch. So I think all in all, that was about a 5 or 6 pitch inning for Kevin McGovern. He ends up at 69 pitches through 5. We go to the top of the 6th as we're through 5 also. Rockers trail 1-0. This is High Point Rockers Baseball.
This is Julianne Condia, host of Rewritten here on Public House Media. Thank you so much for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Rewritten, where we will talk about you having limitless potential and can rewrite your story at any time. No matter your background, your past, or current situation, you can have the type of life you crave. A new show comes out every single Monday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Rewritten. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is John Lauder, host of The Cheap Seats here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, The Cheap Seats, where we talk about sports from the fans' perspective. A new show comes out every Monday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of The Cheap Seats. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Kim Meyer, the host of Choose to Rise here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Choose to Rise, where we talk about living with positive mindsets, how to increase our confidence, building our faith, and living out our life on purpose. A new show comes out via podcast every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if you want to catch the episode live instead, stop by Public House Media around 6:45 Central Standard Time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday as well. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of Choose to Rise. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Well, we are in High Point, but I want to throw it all the way to New Britain, Connecticut here for a moment, a game break, if you will. The Bees down 6-5 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Ozzie Martinez doubles. 1 run scores. Mike Karp thrown out at the plate. Devin Burke thrown out at the plate. And so the tying run has come across. Remember, they're playing 2 7-inning games, so they're about to go into what is essentially extra innings. They're tied at 6 as that first pitch in there for a strike. If the Bees win, at least for the moment, obviously they have a second game tonight. This game is not over, as that pitch is a strike to Vaughn, 0-2. But just at the moment, if the Bees win this game, the Rockers and the Bees are tied in second place.
Wow.
So we will certainly keep an eye on the conclusion of that game. Here's the 0-2 to Vaughn. Swing and a miss, strike 3. A beautiful curveball there from Joe Van Meter. Strikeout number 9 tonight.
And Van Meter is above 80 pitches here, so you and I always like to go back and forth and have the great debate. What we've seen from Van Meter this year, what we've seen for the decisions made by Jamie Keefe and Frank Viola, coupled with how important Van Meter is going to be the rest of the way, I think this will probably be his last inning because he'll probably end around 95 pitches.
That would be my guess, too, although this one's popped up a mile high in the infield. Hector Gomez, the third baseman, is there and makes the catch for out number 2. Although Van Meter is one of the 3 guys here that sometimes they'll stretch to 105 or so.
And he's having a very pitcher-friendly inning here. I believe he's at 85 pitches, 84 pitches so far. So came in with 80. Yeah, he's at 84 pitches. So this will be his 85th pitch.
And he's been brilliant tonight, too.
Brilliant, capital B. So
that pitch swung on, hit on the ground to Cardulo at first. He'll take it himself, and that might have just bought Joe Van Meter the 7th inning.
Keep him in, baby.
Cardulo makes the play unassisted. It's a quick 1-2-3. The Rockers are going to get the bats going again here, hopefully, in the 6th inning. They're needing to score down 1-0. This is High Point Rockers baseball.
Get the man on the mound to win.
This is John Lauder, host of The Cheap Seats here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, The Cheap Seats, where we talk about sports from the fans' perspective. A new show comes out every Monday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of The Cheap Seats. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Kim Meyer, the host of Choose to Rise here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Choose to Rise, where we talk about living with positive mindsets, how to increase our confidence, building our faith, and living out our life on purpose. A new show comes out via podcast every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if you want to catch the episode live instead, stop by Public House Media around 6:45 Central Standard Time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday as well. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of Choose to Rise. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hi, this is Emily.
This is Lindsay.
And this is Elizabeth,
co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Once you are done with this episode, we hope you'll come check out our show, Beauties and Headcanons, where we talk nerdy to you about fandoms, fan fiction, and all pop culture for nerds that you can think of. A new show comes out every Friday.
Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Dr. Mariah White, host of Your Life Matters, here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Your Life Matters, where we talk about dreaming big and dreaming bold to reach your wildest dreams in both your health and your happiness.
Bottom of the 6th inning here, BB&T Point, and we're breezing right along. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for the Blue Crabs. No runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Rockers. And the first pitch from McGovern to Steven Cardulo in their first strike. Top of the lineup, Cardulo, Mitchell, and Gomez.
Talk about the night that Joe Van Meter's had. It's been outstanding. We hope we see him again in the 7th inning. He'll probably at least start it.
Cardulo takes inside, 1-1.
But McGovern's dad today says, you better be nice to my son on the broadcast today. And how could we not be? What a great day he's had.
He's looked fantastic through 5. There's a strike to Cardulo, and the count is 1-2. He's pitching pretty much exactly the way we expected him to. Not a lot of strikeouts, but he's getting quick outs. He's just now at 70 pitches and looks very sharp so far. That one down low to Cardulo, 2-2. Only 1 strikeout for McGovern, but he's not needed to be particularly overpowering in terms of strikeout numbers because he's locating his pitches well and getting soft contact. Although that's stabbed by Tony Thomas. He has robbed Steven Cardulo of a line drive base hit. That was probably one of the hardest balls I have ever seen Cardulo hit. And Tony Thomas stabbed it and took away a sure single.
Great play by Tony Thomas. He shows why he's one of the best players in the league. Not just a great hitter, but a great fielder.
Here's Jared Mitchell. That's bad luck if you're a High Point Rocker. That's great defense if you're a Blue Crab. That one is a strike to Mitchell on the off-speed pitch from Kevin McGovern. That one was lined about 2 or 3 steps to the glove side of third baseman Thomas. And he absolutely snared it. Here's the 0-1. And looks like a sweeping off-speed pitch from McGovern, and there's strike, and they count 0-2. And he will come set. Here's the 0-2. Swung on and fouled back to the screen. And so Mitchell stays alive at 0-2. Should mention the Somerset New Britain game did go into extra innings. They are in the bottom of the 8th right now. Still tied at 6. A Bees win, at least for the moment, would tie them with the Rockers in second place in the second half. Here's the 0-2 to Mitchell. Swing and a miss, strike 3. McGovern had Mitchell off balance with the off-speed pitch, his second strikeout of the night, and the second out of the 6th. I'll bring up Hector Gomez. Gomez 1-for-2 today with a base hit. Rockers down 1-0 as we're in the bottom of the 6th.
Especially this part of the lineup, it only takes one swing for a tie.
That pitch down and away, 1-0. And I guess that's a good thing. The Rockers offense has not woken up yet or has not come to play yet, but you just need that one run. There's a check swing there. They're going to look down at first base. He did not go, so they count 2-0. Although if they're not able to get a run tonight, that kind of goes back to something else Jamie Keefe said where, it's one thing works one night and something else the next night. Is this one is a ball 3-0, and right now it's the pitching that's working for both teams.
A walk would work here.
Here's the 3-0. Gomez taking all the way. It's a strike, and they count 3-1. Yeah, we'll get on base potentially for Quincy Lattimore, who waits on deck. The lefty McGovern deals, and the curveball a called strike, and the count goes full as Gomez was about to head to first. Gomez, a .294 hitter, 10 home runs, and the team leader with 69 runs batted in.
McGovern very close with Van Meter and pitches.
Here's the 3-2. This one's fouled off.
Joe at 85. Kevin McGovern at 84. His 85th will be on the way once he gets a ball to him. Mario was trying to throw one back to him, and he got over his head there.
And regardless, even if he throws one pitch here, if he throws more than one pitch here, I guess I should say.
You got to bring him back out.
Yeah. At least to start the inning for sure. Off-speed pitch. This one's lined a soft liner to Thomas. So Tony Thomas making a couple nice plays over there at third base, taking away 2 hits this inning from the High Point Rockers. And we go to the top of the 7th. Joe Van Meter should come out. I didn't see anybody in the bullpen for the Rockers, so we'll step aside and we'll come back. Top of the 7th next. This is High Point Rockers Baseball.
This is Daniel Poppy, host of How to Write Good here on Public House Media. I just want to thank you for listening to the following broadcast brought to you by Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope that you'll come check out my show, How to Write Good, the writing show that is not about writing. A new show of How to Write Good comes out every Wednesday, so don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of How to Write Good. Again, thanks for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
We're going to give the first round to the birthday boy. Here we go. Round 2, guys. 3, 2, 1. Rocker ball. Shoes just went flying, and the birthday boy completely sweep.
What's up, everybody? This is Christian Heimel, host of Press Row here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Press Row, where we talk about the biggest issues in sports with the analysts, experts, and reporters who cover them. No nonsense, hard-hitting interviews on the sports topics you're talking about. A new show comes out every single Thursday. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Press Row. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Top of the 7th inning, Blue Crabs have a 1-0 lead, and they have 8, 9, and 1. McAdams, Silva, and Blackstone coming up here against Joe Van Meter. And Van Meter's first pitch, swing and a miss. And the count 0-1.
I'll say it, and folks on YouTube got to witness it. Best rocker ball of the season.
Swung on, hit high in the air to right field. Mitchell is there. Couple steps in front of the track, makes the catch for out number 1. Yeah, one of the guys in rocker ball hit so hard it knocked him out of his shoes, literally.
And I hate to say it, but it knocked him out of the game. They had to stop the game there.
Yeah, lost a shoe and everything. It was intense. So here is Ruby Silva. Joe Van Meter sitting at 9 strikeouts, and this is potentially his last inning. So maybe see if he can pick up number 10 here as Silva fouls this one off, count 0-1. It's been a remarkable game for Joe Van Meter yet again, regardless of how many strikeouts he ends up with. He did give you that ace-like performance that he's been giving the Rockers all year.
And he kept it close for you.
Silva calls for time as the Rockers trying to help their pitcher out here. If they put up a 0, you know the offense wants to try to get him in line for win number 9. Silva just gets a piece of it, fouls it off 0-2.
And he's already got 1 out here, so he's putting himself in a pretty good spot. 88 pitches now, so
I think at this point it's probably his last inning.
I don't know. If he's under 90, I mean, it would have to be 6 pitches.
That one's fouled off, and the count is still 0-2.
But if we're playing the what-if game, let's play the what-if game. If he can get 2 more outs and 6 more pitches and be at like 96 when he goes into the dugout, you never know.
He's strong. I could see him going to 110 tonight. Here's the 0-2 curveball, swing and a miss, strike 3. Well, one thing's for sure is he's up at 90 pitches now. That's strikeout number 10 for Van Meter, and he may have thrown 90 pitches, but he still looks sharp as ever. Honestly, I think he looks even better now than he did at the beginning of the game.
And I think you said that about him on the last time we saw him on Thursday. The deeper he got into the game, the more comfortable and the more at ease he got.
First pitch to Blackstone, a weak ground ball foul down the first base side, 0-1.
Oh, and if that's fair, I think you're definitely seeing him in the 8th inning.
Action in the pen for the Blue Crabs. Looks like a left-handed pitcher.
Not too much going on down there in the Rocker bullpen. I think there's some stirring confirmed, but nothing really going on.
Count 1-1 to Blackstone. As Van Meter deals off-speed pitch, a strike, 1-2.
Same can be said about the amount of activity going on in the Blue Crabs bullpen. Not a lot of urgency down there, and there doesn't need to be.
No, McGovern is at least going to start the bottom of the 7th, I would assume. Here's the 2-2 curveball, strike 3. That's number 11, Joe Van Meter with a curveball, back-to-back Ks, and he's got 11 here tonight. One short of the tying the record for the High Point Rockers. So we're going to go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Rockers still trail 1-0. This is High Point Rockers baseball.
This is Bryce Burge, host of Your Soccer Passport here on Public House Media. After this episode, come join us on a trip around the soccer world as we discuss club and country every Tuesday. Stamp your soccer passport by subscribing on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your Public House Media podcasts. And thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
What's up, everybody? This is Christian Heimel, host of Press Row here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Press Row, where we talk about the biggest issues in sports with the analysts, experts, and reporters who cover them. No nonsense, hard-hitting interviews on the sports topics you're talking about. A new show comes out every single Thursday. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Press Row. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Madeline, host of Crowned and Dangerous here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back to check out my show, Crowned and Dangerous, where Jessica and I talk about our time in the pageant world. A new show comes out bi-weekly on Thursdays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Crowned and Dangerous. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Liz Colburn, host of The Morning Uplift here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back and check out my show, The Morning Uplift, where we talk about finding your beauty in the journey. A new show comes out twice a month on the 1st and 3rd Mondays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of The Morning Uplift. Thank you again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Bottom of the 7th inning, it's Lattimore and Schaefer, and Schroeder leading off for the three scheduled hitters for the Rockers. They trail 1-0 to the New Britain Bees. First pitch, a strike to Quincy Lattimore, as there's action in both pins now. Do want to pass along some unfortunate news, as this pitch is a strike at the knees, 0-2. New Britain Bees won game one of the doubleheader. They are tied with the Rockers in second place now.
Bad news for Rockers fans. Good news if you're a Bees fan.
Here's the 0-2. That's bounced in the turf. Good block by Valerio. And the count is 0-1. Or excuse me, the count is 1-2. Here's something to think about, Kevin. If McGovern or any of the other pitchers for Southern Maryland throw one that gets away at this point, I think the Rockers have it on their mind about stealing first base now. So I think that if they get a chance to return the favor, they might just do so.
You think because we saw the other team do it, you could see it here?
Absolutely.
I kind of agree with you.
That pitch up high and the count 2-2. But my thought process certainly being the fact that, you use it to your advantage and caught us off guard. So if we get an opportunity, we're going to take advantage of it because the Rockers need runs. And the best way to get that is base runners. This one's grounded over to Thomas. The throw to first in time. They get Lattimore by a step, and it's out number one. Although, I don't know, the way that Kevin McGovern's pitching, he's hitting his spots brilliantly tonight.
Just another reason that if somehow a ball gets away from McGovern, you got to go.
Absolutely. Here's Richie Schaefer. McGovern just at 90 pitches even now. Schaefer is 0-for-2 as this one's hit. If it's a mile, it's 5 up into center field, but right there is Vaughn to make the catch, and Schaefer was 2/3 of the way to second by the time that ball was caught, but it's out number 2.
Well, this is the definition of a pitcher's duel, and we talked about how how Van Meter had a pitcher-friendly inning based on his numbers, and there is somebody down in the bullpen for each man. I don't know, though. McGovern's at 91. We're more familiar with how far Van Meter can go. We're not as familiar with McGovern's numbers, but I could see him starting the 8th, too.
This one lined right to Thomas for the third out of the inning. That's 3 line drives that Tony Thomas has taken away from the Rockers. And a quick inning for McGovern. We'll see how both skippers want to play it in the 8th inning. We go to the 8th. It's 1-0. Rockers making the call to the bullpen. Southern Maryland leads 1-0.
What's up, everybody? This is Christian Heimel, host of Press Row here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Press Row, where we talk about the biggest issues in sports with the analysts, experts, and reporters who cover them. No nonsense, hard-hitting interviews on the sports topics you're talking about. A new show comes out every single Thursday. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Press Row. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Madeline, host of Crowned and Dangerous here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back to check out my show, Crowned and Dangerous, where Jessica and I talk about our time in the pageant world. A new show comes out bi-weekly on Thursdays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Crowned and Dangerous. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Liz Colburn, host of The Morning Uplift here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back and check out my show, The Morning Uplift, where we talk about finding your beauty in the journey. A new show comes out twice a month on the first and third Mondays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of The Morning Uplift. Thank you again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Rachel Mullins, host of Hashtag No Filter Friday here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my new show, Hashtag No Filter Friday, where we talk about all of the sexual misconduct allegations swirling around Hollywood. A new show drops every Friday at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of Hashtag No Filter Friday. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Top of the 8th inning. And the stellar night for Joe Van Meter comes to a close as he gives way to Kyle Hansen and the Rockers bullpen, the returning Kyle Hansen, who deals first pitch ball to Edwin Garcia. Hansen 0-1 on the year, a 2.61 ERA for the Rockers in 18 appearances. Missed quite a substantial amount of time with an injury issue, but he deals this one to Garcia 1-1. In fact, if memory serves me correctly, this is Hansen's first games pitched with the TrackMan system now. I don't think we've seen him since before the All-Star break.
Definitely at home. I know the Rockers had seen a little bit on the road before it was implemented here at BB&T Point. But Hansen, a big guy, 6'8", 200 pounds, puts a lot of power behind each pitch. There's a strike there.
Nice sinking pitch there in the count 1-2. Looked like maybe a sinking fastball maybe. But how about the night Joe Van Meter had? He absolutely kept this High Point team in it and gave them a chance. Is this one down low in the count 2-2? 7 innings, 4 hits, 3 walks, 11 strikeouts, and just 1 run allowed. Certainly pitched well enough to get a win, but unfortunately the offense didn't come around in time to get him in line for one. 4 hits per side here in the 8th inning as Hansen deals the 2-2 off-speed pitch, fouled off, and the count stays 2-2.
If you love pitching, I have really good news. And you know it. You must have loved this game today because you saw really stellar pitching on both sides.
There's a good chance you'll see more of that tomorrow. Seeing the likes of Darryl Thompson, Michael Bowden, Dustin Knight, Edwin Carl, as this one's poked into left field. Schaefer is there and makes the catch for the out. I would venture to say, I know earlier when I'm drawing a blank, when York was in town, when I said I would give the MVP award to Isaiah Tejeda, excuse me, if we did a Cy Young award in this league, I would venture to say that Darryl Thompson's the guy.
You're that high on him. You like him.
He's in the top of almost every category as far as league leaders goes as John Griffin steps in. Just listen to some of these numbers as he swings and misses strike one. Thompson is 6th in the league in ERA, leads the league in wins, leads the league in strikeouts. He is tied for first in shutouts. He leads the league in innings pitched. This pitch fouled off, 0-2. 6th in the league in opponent's batting average. He leads the league in whip. I mean, this guy's at the top of every category.
And numbers-wise, I totally agree with you. He's been great, and I think if there was, he would be the front-runner for that award, the leader for that award. I test, and I'm a little biased, but I would like Joe Van Meter in that running as well.
That pitch is strike 3. Got him with the off-speed pitch looking. Griffin goes down, and it's the 12th strikeout by a Rocker pitcher today. I think Joe Van Meter, again, if they did that award, would be a finalist, but having actually also seen Thompson here, and we'll see him again tomorrow, we'll see if he can well, obviously the Rockers don't want him to throw another complete game shutout, but certainly looking forward to seeing him work. He is a very good pitcher. As the first pitch to Tony Thomas misses for a ball.
And like we were talking about, we could very easily tomorrow see
that one inside 2-0.
A handful of complete games tomorrow. You have guys like Edwin Carl pitching against, and that's the matchup is Carl versus Daryl
Thompson, yeah.
Daryl Thompson, and then it's Bowden versus Knight. So you're getting two great matchups there.
This one fouled off, and the count is 2-1. Yeah, you could see 3 or 4 complete games potentially tomorrow.
And it depends. If you're a betting. If you're someone who likes to bet a little bit, you probably wouldn't take those odds. Someone's going to not be able to go all the way.
That pitch down low, 3-1. Well, I got my money on Thompson and Bowden for sure.
And I was just going to say, if there was a group of 4 guys who could do it, it's these 4.
3 balls and a strike to Tony Thomas. Taking a big hack at the high fastball, comes up empty, and the count goes full.
Great job by Hansen to elevate that ball and got Thompson's eyes to get big, and he chased after that one.
Ducks have come back from their 1-0 deficit. They now lead the Barnstormers 2-1. No score between the York Revolution and the Sugar Land Skeeters. What a big series that is. As Thomas drops the hammer on this one, hits it high in the air to center. Schroeder is there for the final out of the inning. So we go to the bottom half of the 8th. We'll see if McGovern comes back to start the inning. Rockers down 1-0. This is High Point Rockers baseball.
What's up, everybody? This is Christian Heimel, host of Press Row here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Press Row, where we talk about the biggest issues in sports with the analysts, experts, and reporters who cover them. No nonsense, hard-hitting interviews on the sports topics you're talking about. A new show comes out every single Thursday. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Press Row. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Jessica Hammer, co-host of Crowned and Dangerous here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Crowned and Dangerous, where Maddie and I talk about all things pageant related, especially our experiences in the Miss America organization. A new show comes out bi-weekly, every other Thursday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Crowned and Dangerous. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Jenna Burt, host of the Confessions of a Military Spouse podcast here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Confessions of a Military Spouse, where we dig deep and talk about the unspoken hard truths of what it's really like to be a military spouse. A new show comes out bi-weekly. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Confessions of a Military Spouse. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Bottom of the 8th inning, new pitcher for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, Adam Choplik, 3-2, 2.30 ERA, 55 strikeouts in 47 innings, and working for the second day in a row. He'll face the bottom 3 in the Rockers lineup, Russell Jones and Alfonso. Rockers trail by a score of 1-0 here at BB&T Point. Kendrick Fruits, Kevin McMahon with you on this Taco Tuesday, and thinking about tacos, making me hungry. Did not plan my meals out well today. Here's the pitch, and it's in there for a strike. But you know what? I will be more than happy to eat late tonight if it means the Rockers came back and won this game.
That's right.
Count 0-1 to Russell, who up until yesterday had been a 300 hitter this year, maybe 2 days ago. But he takes up high in the count 1-1. He's now hitting .294. Matt Latos starts to throw in the bullpen for the Blue Crabs. And a head-high fastball, 2-1 to Russell. Well, the good thing is, whether it be this inning or next inning, you will see the top of the Rockers lineup again. And if it's next inning, will certainly be coming in at the most clutch of opportunities. This pitch down low, and it's now 3 balls, 1 strike to Russell. As we passed along earlier in the broadcast, the information that the New Britain Bees won, therefore tying the Rockers second place in the standings here in the second half. Also wanted to pass along the information again that tomorrow's game is a doubleheader. There will no longer be a game on Thursday, as the Rockers are trying to adjust accordingly to the expected arrival of Hurricane Dorian to North Carolina. Russell hits this one weakly on the ground to first. McAdams will take it himself. And there's one away as Matt Jones will come up now. So the first game scheduled for 5 o'clock. There are a pair of 7-inning contests. 90s night here at the ballpark.
The catcher, number 17, Matt Jones.
I hate to put you on the spot. Do you know what time gates open tomorrow for anybody wanting to attend?
We'll get confirmation on that. I'm going to resist guessing. I was going to put a guesstimation out there.
We will give you that information in the top of the ninth. Here's the pitch from Choplik. A big swing there from Jones. And the count is 0-1.
I will say typically on a dollar beer night, it's an hour before. But typically on a Wednesday, it's 30 minutes before. So the fact that those two things are getting combined.
So 45?
We'll go get that for you real quick here.
Here's the 0-1 to Jones. Swings and fouls that one off. And the count 0-2 to the Rockers catcher. So following Jones, it'll be the number 9 hitter, Giovanni Alfonso. And here is the 0-2. To Jones. Choplik kicks, deals, off speed, stays away, 1-2.
I just got confirmation. 4 o'clock is what we're saying over there in the press box. So I agree with them. I believe them.
So 4 o'clock gates open. 4:45 we go on air on YouTube and Spreaker for the pregame show, and 5 o'clock first pitch or thereabouts for Game 1 of tomorrow's Twin Bill.
Let's play 2.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Now, after that strikeout there by Choplik, as we look forward here now, not counting this game over at all here for the High Point Rockers. However, and we'll have time to set the scene for tomorrow's game, but if the Blue Crabs win today, they give themselves 2 chances tomorrow to win the series. So that's why winning tonight is so important, because same thing goes for the Rockers.
And not just the 4-game series as the first pitch to Alfonso misses for a ball, but the Blue Crabs, or the Rockers, have a 10-8 lead on the season series, and this is the last time these two teams face. So the potential, if the Blue Crabs sweep the series, they'll win the season series as well. Here's the 1-0 to Giovanni Alfonso, and he swings and fouls this one off, count 1-1.
And if you want to be in the playoffs, if you want to, whether it's courtesy of the wild card or winning the second half, you have to win your series. And whether that's winning, season series and the head-to-head series, you want to make sure you're on the other side of that. So, this is you could hear when we talked to Jamie Keefe how important this stretch is here for the Rockers, especially at home.
Here's the 1-1 to Alfonso. He swings, hits this one hard down the right field side. It's foul. Kevin, we were talking about that last 3-game series against the Long Island Ducks at the end of the year and how that could potentially be a big series. How about the 3 games before that now? That's a 6-game road trip that starts in New Britain, and the Bees have just tied the Rockers in second place.
That's a tough 6 games. They're so important, especially if, give or take, to see how close that is by the end of everything.
Alfonso swings and just gets a piece of it. Fouls it off in the count 1-2.
If the Ducks lose a little bit and the Rockers and Bees kind of hold pace, I don't think it's unrealistic where we're in a situation where going into that series, the Bees and Rockers are both 3 games behind the Ducks.
Absolutely.
Even 4 games, then you end that series only 1 game apart.
Alfonso bunts this one off at 1-2, fouls it off, and he'll stay alive at least for one more pitch. And not only that, but we saw how the first half of the Atlantic League season went down to the last weekend. I think it was settled on Saturday, and the season ended on a Sunday. But they're setting themselves up to at least have the potential for that to happen again.
In a 1-2 count with 2 outs, I won't start talking about what I was going to talk about. I learned my lesson.
Here is that 1-2 to Giovanni Alfonso. And he swings and fouls it off. The Ducks have just scored again on the Barnstormers, so they lead now 3-1 in their game.
I'll bring it up quickly here, but that's why it's so important for the Rockers to keep winning and have the Long Island Ducks lose at least 2, because you want to be within 3 games as you get to that last series. Otherwise, it doesn't do you any good, because the Rockers own the tiebreaker against the Ducks.
Alfonso swinging and missing it, but it's in the turf, and Valerio tags him out for the final out of the inning. So the Rockers go down 1-2-3 for the 3rd inning in a row. And we go to the 9th. Rockers go to the bullpen, 1-0 Southern Maryland.
This is Liz Colburn, host of the Morning Uplift here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back and check out my show, The Morning Uplift, where we talk about finding your beauty in the journey. A new show comes out twice a month on the 1st and 3rd Mondays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of The Morning Uplift. Thank you again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Rachel Mons, host of #NoFilterFriday here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my new show, #NoFilterFriday, where we talk about all of the sexual misconduct allegations swirling around Hollywood. A new show drops every Friday at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of #NoFilterFriday. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is John Lauder, host of The Cheap Seats here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, The Cheap Seats, where we talk about sports from the fans' perspective. A new show comes out every Monday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of The Cheap Seats. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Kim Meyer, the host of Choose to Rise here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Choose to Rise, where we talk about living with positive mindsets, how to increase our confidence, building our faith, and living out our life on purpose. A new show comes out via podcast every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if you want to catch the episode live instead, stop by Public House Media around 6:45 Central Standard Time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Top of the 9th, new pitcher for the Rockers. It's Paul Clemens, and he deals first pitch, getting away from the backstop, Mac Jones, and all the way to the actual backstop, but it bounces back to Jones, and no advancement for Corey Vaughn, who's 0 for 3 tonight. New pitcher for the Rockers, Paul Clemens, 2-2, 6.59 ERA in 20 appearances.
And Corey Vaughn, man, a great hitter. Not going to take the bat out of his hands there and steal first.
That pitch down low. And the count now is 2-0. Of course, remember the last time we saw Paul Clemens at home, Gave up a ninth-inning home run Thursday, but was able to pick up a big strikeout there to end the game, and the Rockers picked up one game out of that series against, was it the Revolution last week? That pitch fouled off of the home plate umpire, Lindy Hall.
No, it was not. Because I'm trying to remember who was just in town.
It was the Bees.
It was the Bees, that's right. A lot's happened since then.
Sure, sure.
You're a busy man, so am I. We got a lot going on.
Here's the 2-1 to Vaughn. And he swings and fouls this one up out of play. And as it stands right now, the Rockers are set in the bottom of the ninth inning with 1, 2, and 3 coming up to face Matt Latos again.
Well, that's who you want coming up when you have to face a guy as good as Matt Latos. And I was going to say earlier, never got the chance to, that you want to try to get Kevin McGovern out of there so you can get into the bullpen. But with how good this bullpen is, that doesn't make it much easier.
Well, the thing is that one is swung on, hit a mile high into left field. Back goes Schaefer at the wall, at the track, looking up, leaps, and it's gone. A solo shot for Corey Vaughn, his 21st home run of the year. And the Blue Crabs have doubled their lead, now 2-0. And that hurts because going into the ninth inning down 1 is one thing, but 2 just makes it all the more difficult.
Got to give credit to Richie Schaefer, who went all the way up for that one. I really felt like he was going to bring that one back into the ballpark. And I think Paul Clemens did too. You saw the way he reacted once you saw the ball bounce out. It's weird. You see a ball hit that hard, you go, it's got to be out. With how athletic Richie Schaefer is, you felt like he might be able to bring it back in.
First pitch to Valerio, misses ball 1. And here is the pitch. Swung on. That's hit hard into center field. Back goes Schaefer running back at the track. Makes the catch for out number 1. My goodness, Valerio didn't miss back-to-back home runs by much.
So the hits we're seeing here are very loud. And as I, preview the ninth inning and also go back and reflect on the first inning, I think when you need base runners, because we saw the stolen base in the first inning, if that opportunity... Latos is a guy who we've seen can get a little out of control with some of his stuff missing. I think if that opportunity arises, I think you're going to see it executed.
First pitch down in the dirt.
Maybe not, but
this is
an important game, and like you said, if we've seen it utilized by one team, I think if the opportunity arises, the other team feels like, maybe we should utilize it.
Here's the 1-0. And that is a ball just away, especially if you're in the situation the Rockers are going to be in the ninth inning where you need base runners.
That's the thing.
Absolutely. You know what? I don't care if you have 24 home runs on the year. If you have a chance to go and you think you're going to make it, I think you need to make it.
In a 1-0 game,
that one's down low, 3-0.
You probably make the argument, you know what, we got some of our best guys coming up. One swing ties the game, stay there, don't go. Sure. I agree with you there. Here, 1 doesn't help you. You need 2. Same thing like last night. It was a 2-run deficit for for the Rockers, as that pitch looked pretty good, but it's going to be ball 4.
Yeah, 4-pitch walk to Benson, and for back-to-back ninth innings that we've seen Paul Clemens for not having smooth sailing at all.
And like I was going to say just before that pitch, we saw Richie Schaefer had a huge solo home run, and the Rockers went into the inning down 2, and they were within 1, but they weren't able to get that extra run. If somebody's on base there, that ties the game and changes everything. So that shows you, Kendrick, how important base runners are.
Josh McAdams is the hitter, and Clemens misses up. He's now thrown 5 consecutive balls.
And, the Blue Crabs doing a really good job here of being super patient at the plate. That's what you have to do right now when you see what's coming into you.
Runner goes. Here's a curveball. That is a strike. The throw down to second, not in time. So a stolen base for Joe Benson. The Blue Crabs have another runner in scoring position. The pitch was called a strike, so it is 1-1 to McAdams.
And if somehow Matt Jones and the Rockers could have gotten that throw over to second base and gotten the out, that would have been a massive out for the Rockers. They would have kind of taken one away from the Blue Crabs there. But if you're the Blue Crabs, you got a man in scoring position and only one out, so you've moved yourself out of that double play possibility.
Clemens set. Here's the pitch. It's a curveball. Drops in there for a strike. And he is up 1-2 now to Joe Benson. Or excuse me, to Josh McAdams.
That was a really good pitch by Paul Clemens there. That thing was moving. That was nasty.
Got some break on that off-speed pitch there. 1-2 to McAdams. Takes a long time looking in. Time is finally called.
If you're thinking you want to try to get out for one more Rocker game, you got a chance. September 13th to the 16th. For $44, you get 4 hot dogs, 4 drinks, 4 tickets.
I'll take that.
A hype bobblehead as well. So a great deal.
Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Got him chasing one down low for out number 2. And that'll bring up Ruby Silva, who is 1 for 3 today.
What a great comeback pitch there by Paul Clemens to get the strikeout, and now he's 1 out away from getting his Rockers into the bottom of the 9th inning. And this is a team like we said in the interview with Jamie Keefe, 9 walk-offs. They can do anything. They never give up. So you just got to get there, and you want to keep it at 2. 3 would really make it difficult.
I don't think he and Matt Jones are on the same page. Jones goes out to have a talk. We saw that last at-bat with Benson. Clemens taking a long time looking in at the signs, so I think he's just trying to double-check stuff with the catcher, Matt Jones.
Also, with a man in scoring position, you want to make sure you're making the right decisions.
So coming set here, ready to deal the first pitch to Ruby Silva. It's a curveball in there, strike. And the count 0-1. 2 outs, top of the 9th inning. It is 2-0 in favor of the Blue Crabs after Corey Vaughn's 21st home run of the year. And here is the 0-1. Another curveball. He's practically living off of it here. As it's fouled off, count 0-2. He feels most comfortable throwing that pitch right now, I think, as we saw him missing that fastball location early. So it feels like he's gone almost exclusively to the curveball, but with an 0-2 count here to Silva, we'll see if he tries to catch him off guard and go back to the fastball. Clemens comes set. Here's the 0-2. And does go to the fastball. Little check swing foul ball down the third base side. And Clemens asks for a new baseball and is given one. Joe Benson, the runner at second. 0-2, the count to Silva. 2 outs here in the 9th.
Big pitch coming.
Clemens holds the set on 0-2. Goes back to the curveball, swing and a miss, strike 3. Paul Clemens strands Joe Benson at first, but not before the big solo home run off the bat of Corey Vaughn. Doubles the lead for the Blue Crabs. They send out their closer, Matt Latos. Rockers down 2-0, heading to the bottom of the 9th.
Hi, this is Emily.
This is Lindsay.
And this is Elizabeth.
Co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Once you are done with this episode, we hope you'll come check out our show, Beauties and Headcanons, where we talk nerdy to you about fandoms, fan fiction, and all pop culture for nerds that you can think of. A new show comes out every Friday.
Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Dr. Mariah White, host of Your Life Matters, here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Your Life Matters, where we talk about dreaming big and dreaming bold to reach your wildest dreams in both your health and your happiness. A new show comes out every single Tuesday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of Your Life Matters. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Daniel Poppy, host of How to Write Good here on Public House Media. I just want to thank you for listening to the following broadcast brought to you by Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope that you'll come check out my show, How to Write Good, the writing show that is not about writing. A new show of How to Write Good comes out every Wednesday, so don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of How to Write Good. Again, thanks for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Leading off for your
Bottom of the ninth inning, Rockers trail by a pair. Matt Latos comes in to pitch here. 0-1. Nope, not 0-1. I was looking at his last year in the Toronto Blue Jays organization. Latos is 4-4. There we go, with a 1.01 ERA. 30 strikeouts and 44 innings and 21 saves.
This joke is so good, I'm going to use it anyway.
Okay,
You're not
go
gonna
for
set
it.
up for me. I'll let him throw the pitch here.
First pitch to Cardullo is a strike.
We were in the break, and you said, here comes Matt Latos, and I think you said, I think Latos is a Pokemon, or Latios is
Yeah, I never watched Pokemon.
Yeah.
I just kind of thought I
Which
remember
one
hearing
was
that.
it? How do you say it?
Latios?
Latios, yeah.
I think so.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, that's why Stan Clyburn said, I choose you.
Showing bunt is Cardullo and takes back. It's a strike anyways. Count nothing in two. That was well done.
That was worth it, right? Yeah, that was
sure.
worth it.
Yeah, I know nothing. No, that's a lie. I know next to nothing about Pokemon. Here is the 0-2 to Cardullo. Rockers trail by a pair here in the bottom of the ninth. Swing and a miss. Got him chasing the pitch down low, and Cardullo throws his bat down in frustration for out number one. Brings up Jared Mitchell. You could just tell this team is in a funk right now as they're about to, in the next two outs, unless something happens very quickly, set a new mark, I guess, for most consecutive losses with 5 in a row. And here's the first pitch to Jared Mitchell. That's a fastball below the knees, 1-0. And, we talked to Jamie Keefe in the pregame, and he said if anybody can give us a shot to snap the streak, it's Joe Van Meter, and he absolutely did tonight. He did everything you could ask him to do, giving up only 1 run in 7 innings. And here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled back in the count 1-1. And I don't want to take anything away from the Southern Maryland bullpen or pitching staff in general. McGovern was absolutely brilliant. The bullpen came in and did their job. But if the Rockers lose tonight, it's on the offense.
Still time here. 2 outs left, but like you said, tall order when you got Latos coming out, who is...
That's why I thought 1 run was bad enough when we would go into the ninth at 1-0.
The premier relievers in this league.
Mitchell takes a curveball strike, 1-2.
And if you can remember all the way back in early May, maybe or late May, early June, when Tyler Ladendorf hit the walk-off home run against Matt Latos, you heard Dante Bichette Jr. say, that was huge because it's against the best pitcher in the league. That's what these guys think about this guy.
The 1-2 to Mitchell. Does he go around? He does not. A good job to hold up in the count 2-2.
Home plate umpire Lindy Hall was emphatic about going down to Newsom and getting a for sure answer.
That was a close one for sure. Well, hey, on the bright side, Latos has pitched 2 days in a row. I bet we don't see him for the doubleheader tomorrow.
At all?
I wouldn't pitch him 3 days in a row.
And he's had some longer, it's not like he's coming in and getting a 9-pitch inning or so.
Probably safe to say we do not see him tomorrow. Here's the 2-2 to Mitchell. And that's strike 3 looking. So back-to-back strikeouts here in the 9th inning, and the Rockers are in a familiar territory down to their last out.
And boy, does Latos look sharp. And you know what? I want to apologize to the Blue Crabs. Maybe they're not out of the race in the Freedom Division. You know, we talk about how 5 games is a lot, but not if you play like this.
Hector Gomez comes up. He is 1 for 3.
And they're 6.5 back, the Blue Crabs are.
And here's the pitch. It's down low for a ball. Here's where they run into trouble, though. A win tonight puts them back at 500, but with the way York and Revolution, or the York and the Skeeters keep pulling away, that's the thing, is you've got to win those head-to-head matchups if you're the Blue Crabs.
And they're playing each other, and they're probably not going. One team's probably not going to sweep the other.
That pitch is a called strike.
So those are probably going to basically offset, especially you just look at, if you're a Blue Crabs fan or a member of the Blue Crabs, you're just thinking, man, I wish, they could each go on a losing streak while we're going on this great win streak right now.
Yeah, they're scoreless in the 3rd inning. The Barnstormers just scored a pair to tie the Ducks at 3 in their game. Here's the 1-1. Gomez swings, hits this one high in the air to center field. Not deep. This should do it as Vaughn is there, and he makes the catch. And it's a 1-2-3 inning, and that'll do it as the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs have taken the first 2 games of this 4-game series. And how about this, too? The Blue Crabs pitchers, McGovern, Choplick, and Matt Latos come in to retire the last 13 High Point Rockers of the game. The Rockers did not have a base runner in the 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th inning.
You got to just give credit to the Blue Crabs. It was 2 great pitchers who we saw facing off against each other. It really stings that Joe Van Meter has to pick up, or he won't pick up a loss.
He will.
Oh, he will. He picks up the loss. So that, that really hurts because he did anything but lose. If in the grand scheme of things, in my eyes, he was a winner. The way he played tonight, he kept the Rockers, who are a team that has a ton of offensive power, within 1 run. And, the Rockers will be the first to tell you that's all they want from a pitcher, to keep them in the game. And it just got, became too much, that 2-run deficit. And that's credit to Kevin McGovern, who was outstanding tonight. If I'm picking a player of the game, that is my player of the game. I was really just impressed by the way Kevin played tonight. And that was enough to help the Blue Crabs secure the win. And like I said, in the 8th inning, this is so huge because now it puts the Blue Crabs in a position with 2 chances to win the series tomorrow in that doubleheader. If you're the Rockers, you got 14 innings to try to pick up 2 wins. And we talked about how the Rockers were kind of stuck at 65 wins for a little while. Well, same goes here at 66. So you and I talked about it. As close as they can get to 80 wins, if it's 71, 72, 73, I think they're going to be in pretty good shape. But, right now, it all is unfortunate. It all, is disappointing, but you can't worry about it. You got to come back out tomorrow, and you got to try to pick up 2. Those are important games tomorrow. And 2 great pitchers. You got guys like Bowden and Carl going on the mound for you.
Yeah, you talk about your player of the game, and McGovern absolutely a gem tonight in every sense of the word. Another guy who has to get consideration. Just like in Super Bowl history, only 1 player has ever been named MVP from a losing team. I got to give it to Joe Van Meter tonight, giving up just 1 run in 7 innings and striking out 11 guys, almost tying the team record that he held for quite a while at one point, and that's currently held by Bowden and Carl at 12. But Joe Van Meter had a fantastic night tonight as well, which is more than you can say for the High Point offense. Just still waiting for them to put it together for an extended period of time. They scored 5 last night, and they come back tonight, and they're not able to pick one up. So I guess we just kind of have to wait and see. Hopefully tomorrow we'll find out what kind of offense, what kind of High Point Rockers team it is that shows up. But as it stands, they have just set the new personal low, I guess, for consecutive losses in a row with 5. So, Kevin, let's go ahead and wrap this up here tonight so we can get out of here. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying the sooner we get out of here, the sooner we come back tomorrow. We have a brand new slate and 2 more games of High Point Rockers baseball.
And you got to get out and go to bed. You got a doubleheader tomorrow,
Exactly.
So you got to get rested up. And you know what? Tomorrow night is 90s night. Am I the only one? I'm ready, dude. I'm fired up.
You're not the only one ready, but you're the only one who wanted to hear that.
That's right. 90s night, dollar beer night, a doubleheader. It all starts at 5 o'clock. Gates open at 4 o'clock. Your Rockers need 2 big wins. You got to come out and help them get it done. 2 great pitchers on the mound as well. Edwin Carl and Michael Bowden, each suiting up for the Rockers tomorrow. So a bunch of reasons to come out and support your Rockers as they need to pick up 2 against the Blue Crabs.
So the High Point Rockers hoping that BB&T Point is Paradise City tomorrow. If we're talking about 90s song references, I'm going to go a little Guns N' Roses and hope that they can put together a complete game. We talked to Jamie Keefe before the game, and he said just wait to have everything get put together, and we'll have to wait at least one more evening. Losing pitcher tonight is Joe Van Meter, drops to 8-5 on the year. Kevin McGovern, in his first start in the Atlantic League, picks up the win. He's 1-0. Matt Latos, his 22nd save. Rockers drop this one by a score of 2-0. We'll see you tomorrow at 4:45 for the first of 2 as the Rockers and Blue Crabs conclude their 4-game series. For everybody down the line in the control room, the great job they do, we want to thank them as always, and thank my partner Kevin McMahon for his stellar job as per usual. I'm Kendrick Fruits, wishing you a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. The Rockers and the Blue Crabs play a twin bill starting at 4:45. Blue Crabs win tonight, 2-0. We'll see you tomorrow.